What's up, everybody? Mandatory hair fixing. How's everyone doing today? How are you all? Welcome to the stream. We're going to kick this off, actually, with a discussion with this dude. Now, as always, if you guys are tuning in, and if you're enjoying the show, then consider putting something in the super chat so that your message can be read and responded to live. The super chat donations help keep the channel alive, they help support me, and they help support future content. It's also a great way to have your message read and responded to. Hello? So that your... I hear myself.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Pausing. You good? Is that better?
Yeah, it just sounds really muffled. Are you talking on the phone right now?
Well, I'm on the little Bluetooth thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. So what's up? Last discussion I had with Gomez, he was arguing with me about whether or not I'm a grifter, and basically you were in chat consistently agreeing with him.
Well, yeah, no, I did agree with most of what he was saying. Absolutely. I don't necessarily think he understands the elegance of the situation. But you yourself even have admitted that, you know, you were tired of the right grift in a terminology. So you yourself understand the appearance of what it looks like since you walked away. And really, like I was telling you in the message.
When I jokingly referred to it when I was still in the right-wing grift, that was implying that I was grifting as a right-winger.
No, I know, and I agree. And I think that he didn't understand that premise. But he smelled
So
the
you
grifter.
think I was grifting? Okay, so you think I was grifting as a right winger, and now I'm grifting as a person on the left or center or whatever?
No. More so, you were grifting the feminist thing, and that could have been something different. And I do think...
No, I really wasn't grifting. No, I was not grifting the feminist thing at all.
Okay,
I legitimately still have criticisms of, like, corporate pop feminism, and I talk about that regularly on my channel. The videos that I made when I was starting out criticizing feminism, I made those because I was literally angry about feminism. So, no, that was not me, like, grifting or anything. I didn't even have my... Hold on. I didn't even have my channel monetization turned on until I had over 80,000 subscribers. I was working a minimum wage job. I wasn't even thinking about making money when I first started my YouTube channel. So, no, that's just entirely incorrect.
Let me address these things. If you'll allow me to address them, I will. You're going through a whole medley of...
Okay, let's let you can address them. Yeah, that's fine. But it just seems a little bit silly when you're trying to basically make up bullshit about my own life. But that's why. I don't know. Go ahead.
Absolutely not. Absolutely spinning what I said. Now, I talked about it as you were grifting in the sense that you saw the wave rise. Now, it's not always about money. You were a young kid who don't like popularity, who don't like fame, who don't like being validated. I did not one time say...
Can I address that really quickly?
Okay.
It is true that my content did ride a wave that was very popular at the time of criticizing feminism. That's true, but I've actually said this in other podcasts. You can literally go back and find clips where I specifically have said I wasn't even really aware that there was this massive wave. It makes sense to me now, but it wasn't like I saw it and was like, here's a perfect time for me to start making money. Like, I already had a YouTube channel, my content was getting into politics, and I started enjoying making that kind of content, and it just so happened that I started making feminist content, also because I was inspired by other anti-feminist content I'd seen, which may have been, inadvertently part of the anti-feminist wave. But no, this idea that I was, like, calculating when the wave was there so I could make the most money and get fame was just like... No, that's not what happened. Like, I just started making videos criticizing feminism because I wanted to.
No, and that's fair because it was a popular thing. And I'm not saying you necessarily sat around like some evil scientist and plotted all this crap. That's not what I'm saying at all. Give me a chance to explain it to you. Okay, so the biggest issue really is I watch you. And you know what? I was proud to see somebody in your generation stand up to the crap that was going on. So, I mean, I was proud of you, kid. I thought you was doing a fantastic job. Now, look, and I've watched your Why I Left the Right video. And you know what? It's a scary moment you were talking about, and I get it. And when you say I was a horrible monster, I understand what you're saying. Because, okay, masculinity, when it's taught without boundaries, becomes overbearing also. So, like, the bottom line is I don't necessarily knock how you did this and everything. Here's the thing. you're kind of angry. You're pretentious. You're snide. I
Wait.
watch you
Okay,
talk down to
stop,
all these
please.
people,
I
and
need
it
to
blows
stop
my
you now.
mind.
I need to stop you
You
right
were
there.
on the team
You're not
that
making the
had
same.
some
So
kind of
hold on,
sense.
please stop. Because what you were just saying is first you were trying to argue that I was a grifter, and then you started saying I'm pretentious and mean or whatever. That's a different
Hey,
argument. Now we can talk about what you don't
okay.
like about how I handle myself on debates or
No,
whatever
stop
at a
saying
different
what
time.
I said. I was very clear. You grifted the wave. Stop trying to spin what I'm saying. I
So
see
do you
you
know
do
what a
that
grifter
all the time.
is?
I absolutely know what a grifter is. I mean, we could go to Google and define it.
Well, no.
You're
Can you?
welcome
No,
to
no, no,
right
no.
now.
Put your hands on your head and tell me what it means.
A grifter is somebody who comes across with a false premise or principle, typically to make money, but also for political gain, also for fame, also for other things that have value that's not necessarily monetary.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's not
that's
as
pretty good.
simplified
Good job.
as
I'm proud of you, man. Good job. That was good.
I mean, look, and it's not that. I'm not even really trying to insult you. It's aggravating, and I'm one of them kind of guys from a hard knock school. So I talk a little different. I kind of like you, kid. It ain't even that I don't like you. Like I said,
But
it
you're
was
not making an
disappointing.
argument as to
It
the
wasn't-
claim that I'm a grifter. So
Yeah,
I was not
because here's the thing, you
insincere.
have-
I was not
Let me
insincere.
get to the,
Hold on.
okay,
Can I?
let me
Can
get
I
to
just?
the point so we get right to it.
Okay. Make
Okay,
your
go
point.
ahead.
Go ahead.
All right? You got scared. I mean, you sat there. I watched you. You got scared. From a fear-based reactionary premise. You started making decisions. You started, and even when you talked to Vosh, poor Vosh. Okay, so Vosh.
Okay. Stop, because we're gonna go through this one thing at a time. I don't know how if you're. I'm not even saying this to sound demeaning, but I don't know how I don't know how familiar you are with like having conversations like this. But you can't just steamroll me with 100 things right now. So let's.
That's fair. That's fair. This ain't my beat. You know what I'm saying?
So let's just
it
try
really
and
ain't.
go
I was
one by
trying to-
one. So
Go
you
ahead.
thought I was fantastic when I was on the right. Now that I have moved more to the
It's
center,
not on the right.
hold on.
Hold on.
When I was on the right, you said I have it.
I'm a
Sir, excuse
pot-smoking.
me.
I deal with chickens.
Sir.
I'm all for people. If they want to sell sex, go for it. So let's deal with this on the right shit. Go.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
sir,
I know you're
please.
live.
Yeah. So you said
Yeah,
that I was.
I'm not on the right. Okay, it's
You
not
said
like
that when I was on the
Okay.
right that you were proud of me and you thought I was fantastic. I have this
More towards
written
the
down
right.
here
Stand
on
up
my
against
notes.
feminism was a
So now you're
right-leaning
saying I
concept.
was
That's
motivated.
not my
Now
fault.
your next argument is I was motivated by fear when I left the right. Okay. So
when
let's.
you change your direction, yes, indeed, and you can call it leaving the right, whatever. Yes, the
Okay,
right
so
was
can
standing
you
up
explain to me
against
how this was
feminism.
motivated
So
by
meaning
fear?
personally, you were on the right.
Can you explain to me how this was motivated by fear? Just so you know,
Because
you're in very dangerous
you
territory
scared
right now.
No, why is that?
Because what you're
Why
doing
is
right
that?
now, because you're trying to explain
Something
to,
above you, something
because you're,
that's-
yes, I'll tell you why. Because you are trying to explain to me my intentions.
No,
You're
and
never
you know
going to
what?
be
That's
able to accurately
fair.
explain that to begin with, and
You're
you're
right.
already
right.
so
I'm never
far
gonna
off.
be able to. You're right, and I'm never going to be able to. And you can always just change whatever I say and say that's just not it. I get that, dude. I'm just talking about from an outside perspective. Your internal clock is always going to be yours. I
Okay,
can't
so let's
dictate
talk
that.
about
But I
why.
did watch you say I was afraid. I did watch you say that. I'm only using the words that came out of your mouth.
So I'm not
I
sure
was
what
afraid.
specific
I was
parts you're
terrified
talking
of
about.
myself.
Are you talking about
On
when
your
my channel
videos
was?
that you said-
Are you talking about when my
Yes,
channel
on
was
your-
banned?
No. Well, I mean, I saw you got bothered by YouTube for a minute. I saw Twitter bothered you.
I'm pretty
That's
sure,
not
if
really-
I'm not mistaken, that was when I was saying that, of course, I was a little scared. Like, that was my YouTube channel. That was how I was making money. I had a family. Yeah, of course I was a little
It's one
scared.
where you said,
But
"I'm
hold
coming
on.
out on the
If
right."
Sir,
Or why I'm
please.
leaving the right. That's what it
Excuse
was.
me.
Why I'm leaving the right.
Sir?
That's the video I'm referencing.
Sir, excuse me, please.
Okay.
So you said that I was motivated by fear when I left the right. That's kind of what your argument was. You were even saying how you felt bad for Vosh or whatever. But that's not true. I was a little bit scared when my YouTube channel got banned. That's very different than from when I left the right. By the time I had left
So
the
you-
right, hold on. By the time I had left the right, it had been well over a year since my channel had been banned. Okay, so it wasn't like I got scared and switched up my content really quick. It was obviously a slow and steady process behind the scenes. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I recognize from an outside perspective, I don't make vlog content. You're not really that familiar with my life. It may have looked a little bit sudden, but we can go through together and look at the way my content has changed as my opinions on issues, specifically LGBT issues, have changed and shifted as well. So this argument that it was motivated by fear is not true. In fact, I would argue I was on antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication. So for the first time in my life, I wasn't motivated by fear. I was motivated by fear when I made mistakes like breaking up with Carissa. I was thinking clearly when I got back together with her and when I left the right eventually.
I 100% agree that breaking up and running, I agree that that was a mistake. You should never do that. I know it's hard.
I don't need the lecture. I appreciate it, sir. Please, sir, please.
Okay.
Could you please respond to what I said, sir? Please.
Okay, let me get to you've talked for a minute. You filibustered the situation. The video I'm very specific on, was Hunter Avalon, Why I Left the Right. It's a very popular video. Okay. In that video, you mentioned how you were afraid of the person you were turning into. You were afraid of the direction you were going. Those are your words, not mine. I've been in a place where I've been afraid before, so I understand the moment. But those were your words. And that's the where I get my impression is from you saying I was afraid of the direction I was going.
Okay, sure. So I don't specifically, to be honest, I don't specifically remember saying that. I have my doubts that I said that. But let's just say
I just watched the video about 30 minutes ago. No offense. I just had to do my homework.
Okay, so let's just say for the sake of argument then, sure, that I said that. Me being afraid of who I was turning into or something is me more or less articulating retrospection and the way I was recognizing the direction that my content was leading people. For example, I've been pretty open about when I had the falling out with the alt-right, when I had the big tech censorship thing, how I was truthfully uncomfortable by how many people seemed to hold these radical beliefs that were fans of mine. So me saying I was afraid of who I was becoming or something, still that doesn't sound like something I would have said. But even if I did say that, that's still a far cry from, oh my God, I'm scared, so I'm going to switch up my political beliefs insincerely. That was me articulating retrospection. Introspection.
All right, fair. All right. Okay, my turn, my go. Okay, yes. So Vosh, right? And I don't mean to bring it up. I'm not trying to throw salt in the wound. I just don't have another reference. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let me premise it with that. In that situation, because he's intellectual, dude, and he's a pseudo-intellectual with some really big words, and he'll cause mental gymnastics and mess with your sense. But here's the thing, dude. You just weren't prepared. You didn't know how to defend yourself. A lot of it comes, your earlier videos were kind of simplified and your Christian values and beliefs, and you didn't know how to confront all of these crazy Marxist ideologies that were being spread all over the place. And I get that, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you didn't know how to defend it. You got afraid of the culture in itself. You got afraid of what you were, quote unquote, turning into. You were scared of being associated with supporters that you didn't want to be associated with. You had every opportunity to learn. You can phrase it as I was scared, but it was also that I was uncomfortable by it. It didn't align with my values. I didn't like it. I think it goes a little deeper than just I was scared. You keep trying to frame it as if it was like this pussified move on my part when that just wasn't the case. Second of all, when you're talking about my debate with Vosh, yeah, I didn't debate that well in that debate, but again, it wasn't like I lost a debate and then switched my beliefs the next day. Like, that's not how it happened. I didn't say that happened, so don't phrase it like that. Now, you know I'm not spinning it like that. I'm giving you a lot of credit, kid. Give me some, okay? Come on.
No, you're not. You're not giving me credit. You've come on here and you've claimed that I'm a grifter. You didn't back that up. You pivoted to a different point. We're now trying to stick on this, and then you're still trying to argue that I was just motivated by fear.
You said great. We understood what grifting was. I said it can be for more than monetary value.
Which I've already acknowledged, and I haven't gained anything from leaving the right.
That's cool. Again. Monetary value is not the only value in these things. But that's not the point. You did say it seemed like from an outside perspective, it went quick and it downhill. I mean, you acknowledged that that's how it downhill.
Looked. I said it did. It may have looked a little bit abrupt, but it may have looked abrupt also when I walked away from Christianity. Is there anything specifically now that you disagree with me on, that you think I've been brainwashed by Vosh about?
Dude, I'm afraid I had to quit watching your channel because you just started saying crazy things. You started accusing people that are definitely not, or not even accusing. I'm not even going to say that word. That's not fair. So you started lamenting whether people could be neo-Nazis and crap like that. I mean, we all understand what that is. Richard Spencer is pretty much a neo-Nazi. That's the level of where you got to get to neo-Nazi. When you have other
But no, I
people,
would argue that
and you
that's
say
not
there's
true, that you're setting the bar way too low. And maybe if
no,
you want
see,
to
that's
turn a
not.
blind eye to
No,
like certain
they
behavior
have
and everything, I would
no,
argue
they have
even
distorted the words. They
something
have
that may
watered down the words. They have watered down the words. See, I'm all for because
even
I
if
was
they
raised
water
this way,
down the
right?
words, it's still. Are you
Yes,
saying the neo-Nazis
they
watered
watered
down their
down the words.
words?
Well, they call yes because they
Okay, so
called
that still
regular
makes
people that
them.
support Trump Nazis. You saying that's not watering down the word Nazi?
Oh, you're watering
So
down
we
the word
don't
Nazi
understand
is
that
what you're thinking.
Nazis were German
So
soldiers
who
that
did I
killed
accuse
people
of
and forced
being a
them into camps.
neo-Nazi that
Right?
you disagreed with? Was it when I brought up no
It
bullshit?
no, it was like the Lauren Chan mentioned. You're like, I'm just not sure if she's a neo-Nazi. You know, she's obviously not. She
So
might
what's
be
wrong
some
with me saying
far-leaning.
I wasn't sure?
Well, here's the
Like
deal.
I said,
Because
I
you lumped
didn't
it
know.
into
Like people phrase that as if
that's
I'm
like
over here like Lauren Chen
no,
is
no.
a
That's
neo-Nazi.
changing
When instead I said I don't
that's
know if
changing
Lauren
the
Chen is a
Overton window.
neo-Nazi.
That is changing the Overton window. That is changing, and you shouldn't.
What did I say
You
that
were
was?
very comfortable
What's
with
wrong
them
with me
going
asking?
around
I
and
did accuse her
saying-
of. Hold on. I did accuse her
Go
of
ahead.
being a fascist. And you know what? We just went over a clip where Lauren Chen more or less said that she no longer identifies with as being a conservative because she wants a revolution and she considers herself a Christian nationalist / populist. What do you think
Yes,
that sounds
I
like?
Well, no, I absolutely understand that when it becomes all about nationalism, that potentially that can lead down a bad path too.
So, okay,
Here's the
great. Wait,
thing.
hold
I got
on,
kids.
wait, stop,
Hold
because
on.
that's
Go
really
ahead.
important, because you just agreed with me right there. I
No,
was
I
calling her
agree.
a fascist,
Nationalism.
and now she is showing very clear fascistic tendencies, giving fascistic rhetoric. I'm not saying for sure that she is a fascist. We can never know for sure, okay? But based on what she's saying, it certainly gives credence to that idea. So that was what I
Well, there's
claimed,
a
and I was
large
correct
element-
in that claim.
There's a large element missing out of that makes it and classifies it as fascism. It's not race-based, institutionalized fascism. There is a real major difference between country order. I don't
There
want
can be
protectionist-
fascistic tendencies, and it doesn't always have to be a race. It could be an ethnicity. It could be another group of people. It could just be immigrants. There are various different
But the
fascistic
pendulum
tendencies.
swings.
So
the
no,
pendulum swings.
when she says
No,
she
the
wants a
pendulum swings
revolution,
off.
when she says she believes there needs to be a revolution, when she talks about the disgusting degenerates out in the street, when she talks about being a
Yes,
Christian
well, there
nationalist
are
populist,
degenerates
that
in
sounds
the
like
street.
fascistic
Oh, okay.
tendencies.
So, well, hold on. You called people degenerates. You called what you call it, Blair. What you call it? You call
Yeah,
her
I
a
call some
degenerate.
people
You used
degenerates,
the
but
word-
it's not, hold on,
Oh,
it's not
hold on.
just
You know,
degenerates by themselves. It's not just degenerates isolated. It's that on top
I'm
of her
just telling
talking
you.
about
Okay.
cultural degeneracy and using those other words that are a little code word for, I don't know. Sounds like she's getting at some.
How is that a code word? To say it's a cultural, so define
Okay, so
culture.
what's cultural degeneracy to you?
To degrade, to go downhill from the natural
So how
state
is it
of things.
going downhill?
How is it going down? Okay, so people not procreating on a level that's any kind of like proper. Like we have people going in entirely different direction. We have a huge abortion problem. Like you might as well call it the American genocide when it comes to abortion. I mean, we have all of these things going on right now that are anti-family, anti-being together as a culture. They're splitting us by race. They're splitting us by class. They're splitting us every way they possibly
All
can.
right, let's
They're
stop
splitting
here
us by
because I have.
gender.
Okay, hold on. So I have a couple
I'm
written
just
down.
saying.
Okay, so I have a couple written
That's a
down. People
degeneracy.
not reproducing, abortion, anti-family, splitting us by race. So
Right.
people not reproducing, why do you think that is?
They are being propagated to that being single, being all about yourself, taking and live
You
your
don't think
life
it has
in your-
anything to do with people
That's your
working
best
more?
life. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on. They're telling women get out there and work and everything. Women are the highest depressed new people out there.
Hold
Three
on.
out of every
That's
10
another
women
that's
are
another
on
descriptive
like a
claim
rock.
that you're trying to use to make a
Okay.
prescriptive
Hold on.
argument.
But well, you can call it what you want to. It's what
Women
it
are
is.
more
It's
depressed,
reality.
but
You
so
can
is
live-
everyone else. Whenever people enter the
the thing.
workforce, they
If
tend to
you
get more
label it into
depressed.
something you can dismiss, you don't pay attention to the reality of its
I'm not
existence.
dismissing
And you can-
anything,
in
and I'm not.
reality,
I'm not.
You can't dismiss the consequences
No,
of
I'm
reality.
giving you nuance and context to the claim you just made. You're trying to argue that women starting to work is leading to more depression, and I'm telling you right
No,
now.
that's
You're saying
simplified from, like,
depression rates among women. I'm sorry. You said depression rates among women are
Was-
getting higher. We're the
That's
highest.
one of the factors. Yes, that's one
Yes,
of
and
the
that's
factors.
because of work. As women have entered the workforce, we've seen depression rates rise. Same with people
Okay, so
not
men are working
reproducing.
longer, but
More
only
people are
1 in 10
working.
men
People,
are depressed. Okay, only 1 in 10 men are depressed, 4 out of 10 women, and we've been
well,
working
that's
at a
because
longer
women are
pace.
also,
And we are
yeah,
having
sometimes
to work.
women can tend to feel like are more in touch with their emotions oftentimes. Sometimes the ways that they're raised can lead to that. But still, how is people not reproduce? Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Wait. Stop. Because another thing I really quickly want to add is that if you want to fix this people not reproducing thing, there are various ways that we can go about that, okay? We can add stronger social safety nets, so maybe like a UBI or a way that people can have a little bit more money and be given a little bit more ability, although that
I'm with
doesn't
you.
really
So
seem to work
maybe
as
that,
much. Or
but
what we
hold
could
on.
talk
I
about
don't
also,
want a UBI for anybody that's not having kids. I want you encouraged to have a family. We'll help you out all you want to if you want to encourage family. And see, and here's
well,
another
people
thing.
having more money
We
doesn't
don't talk
always
about
seem to fix
it.
the issue. So it might be better to
I'm
work
not saying
for
for more money.
expanding Medicare for all, not Medicare for all, I'm sorry, the Affordable Care Act. That can help because providing people with health insurance, right? That's something that Joe Biden wants to do, for example. That's a direct
I
way
do
that
agree with
families will
public
benefit.
health insurance. Well, I do agree with public health insurance on a level. Like I said, I'm not on the
Okay,
right,
great.
dude. I am a Trump supporter, hands down. But and that's only because Einstein said it's better to vote for Trump. I can promise you.
Okay,
Because
so
Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing
what do
over
you
and
think
over
about
again.
Joe Biden?
He's a fucking idiot, dude. I can't believe
Okay, great.
somebody's
So-
gonna wipe his ass before he gets on a podium.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So this is why this is the major disconnect here is you have issues, but the way that we fix them are by following more ideas in line with what I believe now, right? So if you're worried about, hold on. So if you're worried, yeah, I will gladly explain. Sir,
I cannot
excuse me.
change.
Sir,
Go ahead.
I would kindly explain this to you. So you're saying that cultural degeneracy is people not reproducing. Well, thankfully, when people have access to, hold on, please, sir, please, sir, please.
Well, don't you pick me.
No,
understand the whole.
Because I haven't even been able to get like a full sentence in here. Just hold on a second. I'm explaining a solution to what you're saying is cultural degeneracy here. So Joe Biden is expanding the Affordable Care Act, something that Donald Trump cut. Donald Trump got rid of the mandate, which effectively killed the Affordable Care Act and harmed millions of Americans' ability to have health insurance. Okay? Joe Biden is expanding that. One can reason that when you have proper access and can afford medical care, you're more likely to be willing to have kids. So I think that that's a way that will help people to reproduce. Another thing that we can help if you're worried about people not reproducing is allowing more immigrants in. Immigrants tend to reproduce, and well, actually, no, it's not even about reproducing, just allowing more people into the country. They can further stimulate the economy and so on. So Joe Biden wants to expand the Affordable Care Act and, allow immigration to a certain degree, as do I.
No.
Both of these things would fix or go to fix people not reproducing.
All right, here you go. So for one, we saw what the Affordable Care Act promised and what it delivered, and that was a lie. And then
That's not true. There were millions of people that had health insurance from it. That's just not true.
Hold on. Let me finish. But there's millions of people that had health insurance before that lost it because of it. That's a fact, too. There's always a counter fact. And I'm not saying it didn't benefit some people, but I will tell you this, because I've been poor for a long time. So I understand what it's like to be poor. All right? So they fixed my little girl. They spent $318,000 saving my child's life. So I love them to death for it. But let me tell you what there didn't have to be. That was before the Affordable Care Act. You know what I mean? When you're poor,
did you have medical debt?
People are under a misconception that, hold on, let me finish. People are under a misconception that they don't take care of you when you're poor. Immediately when you get food stamps, you qualify for medical aid immediately. If you're a singular.
I understand that, and that's great. I'm glad that you had.
Needs the help is the poor.
That's not true. Hold on, that's not true because this is the issue: is the middle class is what keeps getting left behind here. So you're right that people who are, excuse me, sir, please.
Go ahead.
You're right that poor people get access to welfare and then get access to Medicaid and so on. But the problem is the middle class oftentimes lacks that because they're right in that weird situation where they're not rich enough to afford healthcare, where they still are risking medical debt, but they're also not poor enough where they qualify for Medicaid. So that is why, for example, we're seeing the middle class shrinking, right? So it's not just, so if I could just add really quickly, of course, so sir, if of course there are going to be unintended consequences for anything really, but Joe Biden expanding the Affordable Care Act is going to provide medical insurance for people in the middle class also, people who do need it still, and that is going to lend to people reproducing. That on top of allowing immigrants in to keep our economy afloat and keep the population of America growing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I challenge anybody to go to DuckDuckGo and look up what the Affordable Care Act the first time around did to the middle class, because it sure hurt them. But I do agree something needs to be done about the medical system because they are extortionists on the highest level.
So what do you think should be done?
Well, I think things like cancer ought to get automatic coverage. I don't think anybody going through cancer, because I believe that there's a lot of things we do to contribute to those things because we add unnatural things into our environment a lot. Now, granted, some of that has prolonged our life, but at the same time, the toxicity damages some people. I think the government should cover cancer right away. I think long-term side things, anything that's like, oh, well, this guy got hit by a car, he'll be in a coma for life. We don't need to put that on all of his.
So you're talking about
relatives.
Like pre-existing conditions almost, right? Which was something the Affordable Care Act was helping people with, that, if I'm not mistaken, Donald Trump got rid of. But okay.
I don't need nothing like that. This ought to be automatic coverage for every American.
I agree with that too. Yeah, I think that people should have automatic coverage. But it's just that you're saying that people are not reproducing, and that's cultural degeneracy. So, and now we have two fixes here to it.
Over a million babies aborted a year. Not necessarily every year.
Hold on. Okay, you know what? I guess that's in reproducing enough. All right, we can keep that under the guise of reproduction then. Sure.
Because, well, it's just the thing of, like, there's no long-term results out of the reproduction, right? Because they kill it. So, therefore, I mean, we lose, what, on average, I'll even go low numbers, 650,000 a year. And that's low numbers, right? I'm sure
well, that is, yeah, thankfully, here's the one like crux to your argument here that you're lacking is you're talking about cultural degeneracy going downhill. Abortion rates have been steadily decreasing, right? So your argument would be helped if abortion rates were suddenly skyrocketing.
And they don't count the morning after pill when they talk about that. When they talk about that,
you consider the morning after pill to be like abortion?
Well, yeah, you know, peaks and valleys, but they still don't. If it kills a kid, it kills a kid. What do we think? I mean, you know, can you debate that?
With the available, I'm sorry, but with the available statistics that we have available, abortion rates have been declining. So we can talk about abortion. I believe I'm against abortion. I consider myself pro-life. I want there to be less abortion, but we're seeing it decrease. So that does not lend to cultural degeneracy, my friend.
That does not lead to cultural degeneracy. Okay.
No. So that does not lend to your argument of cultural degeneracy.
Okay.
It's declining.
Right. So I don't agree with that because it gives sexual degeneracy freedom without consequence. That's
so what you're advocating for is abstinence. What you're advocating for is almost abstinence training, which doesn't even work.
I am absolutely not. I love all the birth control. Good for the birth control. Have more birth control because most of y'all are stupid anyway. So, like, have more birth control.
So I can send you this article right here from Guttmacher Institute. The U.S. abortion rate continues to drop. Once again, state abortion restrictions are not the main driver. So let's see.
Well, let me ask you, what year was that? Because if you're talking about during COVID, I imagine so.
Let's see. This was between 2011 and 2017. The number of abortions fell by 196,000. A 19% decline. That's fantastic.
Out of what? What's still the aggregate number? So I gave 650,000.
A 19% decline from 1.58 million abortions in 2011 to 862,000 abortions in 2017.
I said 650, the most conservative number I could think, and I was way off. There's still more.
Okay,
and
but
you're arguing about semantics.
No, I'm
Okay,
not arguing
so
with semantics. I'm arguing that this does not prove your point that this is cultural degeneracy because we're seeing abortion rates go down.
You will let me develop my point. You understand? I said 650,000.
Then just make your point, please.
Math on that. 650,000, and it was about the cultural degeneracy leading to population decline and overall degeneracy, period. But anyways, so sex without consequence means that you go out and you do stupid things over and over again. Okay,
this is wrong, by the way.
All right. No,
I just thought I'd let you. I just thought I'd let you know that you're wrong. But if you want to keep talking,
you am not wrong.
Yeah, you are. In fact, there are literal studies. Hold on. There are literal studies that.
Abortion.
Sir.
No,
there are literal.
abortion
Sir. There are literal studies that show that when women have access to birth control, for example, we see abortion rates go down because the main reason for abortions is unplanned pregnancies. So if you're worried, abortion does not give women the ability to just like run around and be free and sex like sluts or whatever. Like you can make that argument way stronger with birth control, but we see a decline from abortions.
No, it absolutely gives them the opportunity just that, because these work-minded women would not roll the dice with some random sexual encounter to destroy their future if there was a consequence. So that's untrue what you said.
So your cult. Okay.
I live in the real
wait.
world. Okay,
you don't understand how.
No, I've been around. I've seen these things in my life, and I've watched the culture fall. So it's not like this ain't something you can't see. I mean, you literally have drag queen story hour in the libraries.
Oh God, you are pivoting like mad. This is insane. No, we're talking about abortion. I'm keeping you on one topic right now because you're jumping all around.
Societal degeneration, period. And that I stand where I stand, that does lead to degeneracy. I put out my point. You don't agree? Great.
So here you go right here. So we want to talk about abortion, right? You said that was cultural degeneracy. Now we're talking about why it's happened. Why is it declining, right? And here's a great article that explains it. One possible contributing factor is contraceptive access and use. Since 2011, contraceptions have become more accessible as most private health insurance plans are now required by the ACA to cover contraceptives without out-of-pocket costs. So as we can see from right here, thanks to Democrat policies, thanks to policies that Donald Trump tried to cut and Joe Biden is now reinstating, we're seeing a decline in abortion because women and...
If he would have wanted that part cut out, he'd have had it cut out because he had whatever he wanted cut out of there.
I don't know what you're saying and I don't care because my point is very clearly proven right here. You're saying that without a consequence, women are... if I'm not mistaken...
Trump left in the Affordable Care Act.
Gotcha. So if I'm not mistaken, I thought that you said that when there's no consequences, women will just go out and sleep around. So are there consequences when you have birth control?
This is an obvious situation.
So there's no consequences. There's a 99.9% chance there won't be consequences if the woman's on birth control, correct?
You're changing the argument. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm literally steel manning your argument and explaining why it's still wrong.
I mean, damn. Oh, you make me cuss. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to.
You can curse on here. It's fine.
Oh, I can. Okay. Well, I won't get crazy, but I appreciate that. So, like, look. Here's the thing. That's garbage. I'm not trying to stop their choice from sleeping around. I'm trying to stop their choice from killing a kid. That's what I'm trying to stop. And yes, it does, because it's a fail-safe. It's a fail-safe. Let me
so
tell you
you're
what,
a Jesse Lee Peterson fan. I got it. So before you start pivoting on your big, long conspiracy theory tangent or whatever.
Do not conflate me with some radical to dis. All
right, I'm sorry. It's just that's his slogan, so forgive me for misinterpreting that.
Dude,
but
please. I said sleep with who you want. Don't kill a kid. I literally said that repeatedly.
So what do you think? Okay, great. So I agree. So what do you think the best way to prevent people from getting pregnant would be?
You know what? Getting pregnant, dude, I hope they don't. I mean, how can we educate them even more? I mean, we give them access to many things. I just want to take the fail-safe. You tell me how many fighter jets would get in the cockpit of a fighter jet if they didn't have an eject button?
So let me ask you a better question. Aside from the fighter jets, when we're talking about women not having consequences, if I'm not mistaken, that was a rough version of what you said, is that women are sleeping around because they don't have consequences. They have this safety net. Couldn't you argue, wouldn't a stronger argument be that even having protection would also give women the ability to sleep around because there's very little likelihood that they're going to face any consequences then either?
No, because of risk management principle. Women are risk management oriented, true or false? You've studied these things.
I genuinely don't know how to answer that, and I don't think it's necessary. Please explain your point.
So here's the thing. They're risk management oriented. They will not play odds. More men gamble than women. They don't like playing odds. Even the smallest odds intimidate them to a factor. Now, will a high percentage do dumb? Absolutely.
So you want to via legislation, like, and you just, okay. So I don't know if what you're saying is true or not, but it doesn't really matter because there's a very clear solution to fixing the abortion decline, and that is providing more contraception. The only problem is your argument being that women are risk management and then they're not going to make decisions, blah, blah, blah. You could have made the same argument about contraceptions. And you know what? I'm pretty sure people have in the past. Oh, well, if women are able to just not get pregnant, there won't be any consequences and they'll all be sluts. Like, this is such a ridiculous argument that is much better. I didn't say that you said this verbatim, my dude. I'm just explaining generally how your argument sounds and where it leads. So I'm explaining that a better direction and a better way to solve this is to instead support Democrat policies like the ACA, support policies that are going to lead to more contraception access and a decrease in abortion rates.
There is already a lot of contraception access. I mean, I'm not trying to knock you, but I've slept with quite a few in my lifetime, and getting like protection is not a difficult. Like, that's not part of the problem.
Maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been for you because it's easy to just pick up a condom. But when it comes to actually getting pills and like birth control, the Affordable Care Act has helped in providing more contraceptions because they can cover out-of-pocket costs.
No, dude, like, you used to be able to go down to the little community thing.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. I don't care that you used to be. No, stop. Because I don't care that you used to be able to go down to the local gas station and pick up a goddamn condom for 25 cents. I don't give a fuck about this. We're talking about broad statistics of people, and we need to look at the way to solve that most effectively. Now, you told me that abortion was cultural degeneracy, but not only are abortion rates steadily decreasing rather than rising, but the way that we fix them is actually by supporting policies that I now support, that you are claiming more or less that I'm a grifter for believing these things.
Rates are coming down. You're attributing it to some Democrat policies, which Democrat are like kill kids.
No, I'm not doing it. This study is. That's all. I mean, what do you want, dude?
Not at all. Dude, you're talking about the ADA is going to give them more birth control. Trump didn't take away the birth control.
Donald Trump tried to cut the ACA, and they did. If I'm not mistaken, he seriously damaged it. He got rid of the mandate, if I'm not mistaken, and that was what was keeping it alive because they needed the funding for that. I don't have a great understanding of it, but I know I can read right here the way that it's helped.
The first day he got in office, he changed Trump's law that made insulin prices cheap as all get out, dude.
Dude, I'd have to look into that because so far everything else you've said has just been like wrong. So
insulin prices. Boom, look it up. You've looked up. So
I'm almost it's almost to the point where I'm not even sure like what we're arguing about at this point. So you want there to be.
We were just actually bullshitting and we started talking about subjects and we picked one and we went down that road.
Right. You want to decline abortion rates, and I'm giving you a solution right here that is borne out in numbers. The way that abortion rates have declined.
But that's another thing too. More women are pro-life now than they have been in a long time. The feminist movement, the feminist agenda shifted in such a direction, it became so unpalatable that more women are not listening to their rhetoric. So
that's
there is
not
that
true.
Too.
This is a common argument that's used by people like you to try and take credit for Democrat policies that are playing a role here. I know. Don't have sex. Don't have sex. That's what you think you can scream like abstinence or whatever. But no, we have actual numbers here, and we know that what's contributing to it. Another possible contributing factor could be a decline in sexual activity. Infertility is also increasing.
I
So it
agree.
seems that
Infertility
some
is
of these
increasing.
things might not be as quite as related to
Outside though.
policy as the ACA. Which,
No,
yeah,
but
there are also I can.
and men trafficking is cultural degeneracy too.
So
So we
if you
hadn't made it to that point.
So
But I
if
mean,
you'd
if you
like,
want
I
to
can
talk
send
about
you.
that,
So if
that's
you'd
true.
like, I can send you a more isolated study also that shows that when just women have access to free contraception, we see abortion rates go down. Because again, we know the driving force behind why women get abortions. So it makes sense that of
This conversation,
preventing
did
an
you not
unplanned
hear me say I'm all
preventing an
for all the folks, all the
preventing an
protection they
unplanned
can
pregnancy
possibly
would be the logical solution.
they can wear a suit of armor. I mean, like, what part? You're arguing protection, dude. I am for protection. Have said that so many times now, and you're still arguing it.
I'm arguing it
I mean,
because
how
you're against the
ridiculous.
ACA and you're saying that I'm like brainwashed for believing some of these things, but I'm
You
explaining to you
changed it to the
policies.
ACA. I'm against abortion. You brought up the ACA. I wasn't like the ACA. I didn't give up
Okay,
what
so
the
do you
hell
want to
they
move on?
do.
Okay,
Most
fine. So do
politicians
you
are
want to
lying bastards.
Okay, great. So do you want to go ahead and move on from this then? Do we want to just go ahead and concede that abortion rates are declining and the best way to more or less contribute to that is providing contraception? And you also said better education, which is
It's
true.
contributing to the degeneracy of the culture.
Before we
Was
get to
the
the
point.
degeneracy and the culture and everything else, we need to first make sure we're conceding these points, okay? So let's go ahead and concede and conclude the people not reproducing. The best solution that there seems to be there is Joe Biden expanding the ACA and immigration, and abortion rates are
I haven't even
declining.
said what I'm talking about. I'm not going to concede a damn thing. I want, I hope that they quit having abortion. I mean, however they get there, I don't give up. If they want to put a postage stamp over their kunana, that's great. I don't care how it gets there. If
You
the
just
Democrats do
said that
something wrong, great. A broken clock is right twice a day. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I don't give a damn about that. I give a damn about the rest of the crazy. They have went insane. They're pushing policies that are insane and anti-American. He destroyed energy independence. He canceled the pipeline, thousands of jobs. I mean, if you want to talk about Biden, there's so much we can talk about that's not good.
we're
And you're
not
like,
moving to Biden. We're going to
talk
stick to
about
the cultural
ACA,
degeneracy argument because you
Great,
listed
let's
out what
stick
you
to it.
consider cultural
Let's
degeneracy.
stick to it. The feminization of men. We can move to that one if you want.
Well, you also
Drag
said
queen story out. Move to
anti-family.
that one if you want.
You also said
Let's promote
anti-family.
everybody changing stuff.
What?
We can
So
do
what do you?
that one if you want.
Let's talk about
I mean, which one do
anti-family.
you want?
What's anti-family? I want to talk about that one.
What's anti-family?
Well,
They are
yeah.
literally telling them do not have children, live your best life. Have you
they?
not
Who's
watched
saying
any
that?
of these? The culture of feminism, as if, and please don't pretend they don't produce messages because you used to talk about their messages, so you're going to deny your own reality. So try not to do that.
No, I'm just wondering
Okay.
how this is
So, okay.
anti-family. Like, I think that
The
more or
culture of
less the
feminism.
goal there
Okay,
is.
so you're saying feminism is not anti-family? Feminism's not anti-family?
I
That's
mean,
what
there,
you're saying?
there
So you're
probably
saying
is.
that, Hunter?
There are probably feminists that are anti-family or say dumb shit
don't
like
think
how
feminism right
marriage
now
is a
is anti-family?
patriarchal institution, blah blah, or something like that. I don't know,
So
but like,
8 principles of women, whatchamacallit, that they passed out of their
but generally
women's
speaking,
organization.
from at least on like the good side of feminism, we usually see this encouragement not to be anti-family, but rather to pursue your own goals. Not every woman has a goal to have a family. Some women want to pursue their career, and that's okay, and they should have the freedom to do that. But also, women having the ability to have a family, that should also be celebrated, and that also is okay. And many times it is. Usually, what we're seeing here is a push for like women just pursuing their goals, more or less.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's plenty of video evidence out there to disprove that understanding. So all of a sudden now feminism doesn't push agendas, and you think feminism's
No.
pro-family. Let's get that straight. You think
No,
feminism's
I
pro-family?
don't know. I
That's
would
something
have to
that
look into it. I'm not really too well read up on my feminism, in all fairness. I think that there are definitely some feminists that are anti-family, but I don't think it's fair to be just say all feminism is anti-family. Is it even? I mean, I just
Period.
I was wondering too if you're going to bring in some gay stuff to the anti-family side of things too, because if you,
Wait,
I mean, because I think a great way a great way that we can help there be more families also is to encourage gay people to continue to adopt. Gay people, since
whatever.
obviously since they can't reproduce, they're able to they adopt
I
much
think a
more
lot of
quickly.
people need to adopt. I think we need to expand a lot of people to adoption. But I do think we need to like make a charge of like pedophilia, some kind of monstrous like, let's like take them out in the street, beat them with a bat. I don't know. But like we need to make the pedophilia a greater crime, in my opinion. But yeah, let anybody
Okay,
who
I'm pretty
fits the
sure that
qualifications love a
pedophilia
kid.
is pretty stigmatized and criminalized in this
Whatever.
country.
Yeah, if you call it
And
stigmatized
also,
or
it's a
whatever.
little weird that you went from gay people to
Okay,
pedophilia
there's
right
plenty
away.
of numbers out there.
So you're cool with
I said,
so you're cool with gay adoption then?
hold on, do not twist my words. I said we need to expand many people being able to, and then I mentioned the pedophilia because I thought to myself, well, we don't want no Catholic priest.
That's fair.
Adopting
That's
kids.
fair. But
So,
you,
like,
so okay,
I
well,
was
as long
not
as
actually
we're,
speaking to any gay folks.
so I'm trying to find common ground then too. So you're cool then with
I
gay
grew up in
you're,
the '90s, dog. There was gay folks everywhere. I didn't give a
that's
damn. You know
okay,
what?
good.
More
So you're
power
cool
to
with gay
gay
people
dudes.
adopting then?
Yeah, I'm cool with this. But here's what I thought, man. When I was growing up in the '90s and I saw the gay culture coming up, I was like, this is fucking great. All them dudes can, because it leaves me all the women in the world. So, like, the more dudes that was gay, the more women was available. And this is how I did all that math. And it seemed to work out.
So let's see. I don't really know if you can even make the argument that this is because of feminism, because in 2014, there was the record share of Americans have never married, and men were actually more likely to not be married.
Well, okay. Men are probably too scared to marry because of how the judicial system is definitely targeted in not their favor. The marriage for men, it doesn't necessarily, the contract doesn't work out, as in if you look at like, oh, well, my future and money and stuff like that. If that's how you're judging everything, contract doesn't work out. I believe it's all a spiritual battle when it comes between men and women. And I don't necessarily believe that I think it's all like it's bigger than anything like me or you can sit around and talk about. So, but
You think?
nonetheless,
Wait,
I mean that
I
is what it
may
is.
have missed that. A spiritual war between what?
A spiritual battle, between like a good and evil sort of thing. Because I totally believe the left is 100% evil. So, like,
I understand that you think that, but so far, like, it seems like everything that you're against, the left has like played a role in helping. At least thus far.
No,
I mean, even when you talk about the criminal, even when you talk about the justice system, even when you talk about,
they don't help abortion.
sir,
Hunter, there is
excuse
nothing
me,
you can
sir.
say that says the Democrats help with stopping abortion.
Actually, that's not
Zero.
true. That's literally false. I can hold on, stop, because I can literally send you an article right now showing that when there are Democrat presidents, we see marginal decreases in abortion because Democrats tend to expand access once again to contraceptions. So no, that's not true. However, it would be a little dishonest to make it out to be just the president. The president doesn't really do that much with abortion rates.
To a specific targeted action. You cannot take just a circumstance of the legislation and attribute it to a targeted action. There are no Democrats sitting around talking about how do we stop aborting babies. Zero. Zip. That is a false.
Do you know that for sure?
On your part, and any reality can disprove that.
Okay, so when you talk about, first you're talking about that, right? You're okay. Oh my God. So when you talk about the criminal justice system also being like biased towards men,
yeah, that's a
right?
sorry state of affairs.
It is. It's very sad. Part of that is because there is bias against men, yes. And some of that is actually because of biases that people hold towards men, and also because of a lot of the times men are raised. Men are taught very often that being more aggressive and being violent is a way to show masculinity, right? But those ideas are oftentimes...
We have changed legislation and made laws that make being masculine by nature illegal. Two men cannot go out and have a fist fight.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to substantiate that one. Where are the laws that has made masculinity illegal? Help me, please, sir.
Okay, because they will throw two men. Okay, perfect example is in the school system. If you fight back against your bully, you get expelled.
Dude,
if you
what? Okay, so one, this has nothing to do with laws. Two, that's how it's always been because you're retaliating, and usually the person that retaliates that gets in trouble. You can even see this happen in sports games. This has nothing to do with what you just said in legislation. Holy shit, dude.
That is just a start.
Once again, you notice how you told me that I was the one that's like crazy, but this entire conversation, you're the one who sounds insane, and I actually have like very reasonable and logical solutions to everything that you've complained about thus far? Have you found that interesting at all?
cannot get into a fight without both of them catching a charge.
Okay, cool. So
Period.
I would like to go through this really quickly. I just want to get back
Didn't
to
they
what.
tell
Hold
you
on, please,
you were
sir.
aggressive,
Please,
that you were
sir.
bad?
Sir, excuse me, sir. Please. I have a question, really quickly. I would like to just. I would like to get back to this, please. When you're talking about there being bias towards men in our criminal justice system, oftentimes we
Absolutely.
see.
Well, you brought it up, but I agree.
Oftentimes, you brought it up first, and I'm now trying to respond to it.
What?
Oftentimes we see this happen because men are oftentimes socialized to believe that they have to exert strength or viciousness or violence or rage or whatever. Oftentimes men are taught this way, that this is a sign of masculinity. And also men are oftentimes
It is
told that,
more of a masculine
excuse me,
trait. That has
also,
been substantiated
excuse me,
from a
sir,
young
men,
age.
sir,
Men
excuse me,
punch
sir.
each other, women down each other's character from nature, from
Sir,
a young age. This
no,
is easy to find.
This is not from nature, okay? Men are
What do you mean
oftentimes,
it's not from
because
nature?
men are
Men are
socialized this way
aggressive because of
oftentimes,
nature.
and we've seen
You're
this change
socialized,
throughout
but
history
you're outside of your
also.
mind? Who was it that taught the caveman or the hunter or the guy? Before we had stoves, right?
That's
So
not
let's
the
just go
same
back
as
to
showing
before-
aggression and
No.
putting that up
No.
with masculinity. And also, you didn't even let me finish my point either.
Many
So
men
men are
don't
oftentimes
like
socialized not
being
only to be
animals.
more violent and aggressive, but also that they can't healthily express their emotions, right? They're not oftentimes able to. You've probably heard the cliche one that like men are oftentimes shamed for crying. If you think about it, like if a man is crying, it's oftentimes grow up, be a man,
No,
stop being a girl, that kind of shit.
You do, because here's the thing: we're not supposed to be hurt by scrapes because we are the protectors.
So this
me ask
right
you a
here is what I
question,
mean.
Who's
This,
strong?
hold on, it's that
Answer-
attitude right there
without
that,
finish.
hold on,
Answer the
sir,
question without
please,
finish.
because you just said
No,
something that
I'm
was
talking
very
about
stupid,
my
sir, and I must
trying to
respond
define
now,
my
sir.
character.
Sir?
Answer the question. Answer the question. It's a simple question. Who is physically stronger and who is made to take the brunt of physical stress?
I mean, women oftentimes do childbearing. That's a really huge physical stressor on women. So I don't know. There are different contexts there, but either way, it does. Excuse me, sir.
Please don't. There are a ton of women that'll tell you that they don't even take the drugs to do the childbirthing, okay? Because they're tough. All right, I get
So
that.
doesn't that disprove
Bottom
what you
line,
just
though,
said?
physical labor, stamina, muscle, the length of time working, all of that is attributed to men. That is a strength.
So I'm
We
not denying that
categorize
men
that
are
as a strength.
stronger. Excuse
That
me,
is
sir.
right. That is masculine trait. You can't take
sir,
away trait. Or you
I
can't
understand.
misdefine
Okay,
it.
you're going to get muted. Please, just let me respond. For God's sake, I never made the argument that men are not stronger. I said that oftentimes men are socialized to be more aggressive and violent. And also that men are socialized
What
and
do you
taught,
think
and also
testosterone
that
does?
men are socialized and taught that they cannot express emotions in a healthy way. This, however, is harmful to men, and that's called toxic masculinity. And that's something that people like me, people on the left, try to address because we recognize that by getting rid of those biases, by fixing some of the ways that we teach men to be masculine, we can actually fix other issues like the criminal justice system having a bias towards men. Notice how I'm able to give really logical, holistic solutions to your so-called cultural general. This is not mental gymnastics. This is called following a logical train of thought.
Oh, please. Oh, no. There's a lot of you don't understand the way life actually works that's missing from your train of thought that would constitute better logical understandings of reality. Okay? So you're
Are
sitting
you just
here
wait? You accused Vosh earlier of trying to like sound smart, but what you just said, I'm pretty sure was like a bunch of bullshit just meant to sound smart.
Cool, and that's fine. Cool.
Do you use big words sometimes to help you photosynthesis?
Here's what it is. Okay. Bottom line, you sit there and you call things like you call things that are generated from testosterone, which is a chemical in men that is produced in men more than women. It is a So let's see, if you put gasoline in a car, it's going to go. But if you put water in the gas tank, you screwed up. You understand? So gasoline makes the car go. Testosterone tends to make men more aggressive, more territorial, These things are all. I mean,
So
just
there
look it
can
up.
be some.
This
I'm
is
not.
not
Again, I'm
biblical.
not denying
So
that.
you're
There can
saying,
be, sir.
so
There
what
can
do
be
you say?
some.
Take out the testosterone because that's a
No,
masculine thing.
that's not
You
what I'm
literally
saying.
say what alter the chemicals of men. I
That
mean,
is not
okay,
what
and
I'm
when
saying,
is it?
sir. Please, can I respond
And
now?
that's
Because
toxic
you've said a lot of
masculinity
dumb
from
shit
what?
that you're not letting me
Oh
respond
no,
to.
bullshit. And toxic masculinity from what? We went from a time when
This
women
isn't.
didn't have the vote. Hold on. When we went from a time when women didn't have the vote, but even in that time, you didn't spit in front of a lady, you didn't cuss in front of a lady, you opened doors for a lady. Okay, that was men who were very, very masculine men. They killed with their hands, right?
And we
That were
literally saw
very
more spousal
good.
abuse and spousal rape back then, too.
We saw
But
that
great
a
argument,
lot.
buddy. I can also send you some studies that men who are raised to be more traditional and see women
No,
as like lesser and inferior are also more likely to abuse women. But again, that would probably be quote unquote mental gymnastics. Listen, I feel like we've gone over as much of this as we are possibly going to be able to. You've said that there's cultural degeneracy. I don't agree with you, but we've now gone over everything except the splitting by race thing, which I'm not about to get into a big race discussion with you. And I've explained how. Yeah, I've explained how.
We need real race. Matter of fact, I'm hoping one of my daughters gets with like a Japanese guy that works 80 hours a week, and then their kid gets with like a black dude, and then once that happens,
That's
I'll
great.
have like.
But I've explained how every single premises you've laid out here that
being.
you've. So I've explained how everything that you've called cultural degeneracy is able to be fixed and ameliorated by policies that are more left or center left, where I fall on the political spectrum, and you the entire time have sounded like a crazy person. I just have to listen. Final words. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you go first, and then I'll get the final word. Go ahead. What's
no, I don't really have no final words. Listen, here's the thing, bro. I hope you get sane one day.
Yeah,
I understand. And
yep, I'm the one who's insane. I got it, buddy. I'm so crazy right now. Hey, listen, your name is The Kids Are Broken, but the only one who's broken here is you. Okay? Bye. Oh, God. I can't. I just can't do it. Okay. Well, that was a fun one. All right, let's go over some donations. Double Sauce, thank you for the $5. Sorry I'm late, sweet cheeks, but I'm here. Ever notice Hunter says true funny? He says shrew like a Brit. Are you a British spy, Hunter? Don't tell anyone, okay? Thank you, please. James Wilcox, thanks for the $5. Keep up the good work, man. I wish you the best. Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Buffalo Sobskis, thank you for the $5. So many women are on birth control now due to not wanting intense menstruation periods. It is such a high percent, so high. Oh, shit. Frederick A. Nicebutt 3, thank you for the $5. I know your secret. You and Demon Mom are brother and sister. Stop hiding it, Hunter. Tell the people the truth. Yes, I am Demon Mama's brother, and I'm a Brit bonger. You got me, guys. We love you, Hunter. The person Hunter was talking to had the maturity of a little kid. He did not listen to a single word you said. Oh, God. I was getting a headache from that guy. I couldn't do it anymore, man. All right, hold on. Let me make sure I put this in the waiting room. Memba666, thanks for the $2. You made it out alive at least. I did. Great job, Hunter. You did well. Thanks, man. Dude's brain went to self-destruct. I felt like I was able to give him like a reasonable solution to everything he's laid out here, but oh God. All right. We're going to be talking to Vadim soon. But I want to talk first about some stuff with Cuba. Hold on one second. We're going to get this loaded up really quickly. Doesn't matter. This is a different thing. Okay. So you've probably seen by now that there's a lot going on in Cuba. Particularly, there are massive protests that are erupting everywhere. Cuba protests, thousands rally against government as economy struggles. There is no food, no medicine, there is no freedom, they do not let us live, one of Sunday's protesters told BBC. The protests are significant because government critics face harsh punishment for dissident in Cuba. Now, the president of Cuba, who's much more like a dictator, even authorized protesters to be fired upon. He authorized the military to fire upon them. Let's see. The president addressed the nation in a TV broadcast and blamed the U.S. for the turmoil. He called its tight sanctions on Cuba, which have been in place in various forms since 1962, a policy of economic suffocation. Now, he's partially correct right there. It is true that the U.S. has really strict sanctions on Cuba, and that is definitely playing a role in the unrest in that region. That's absolutely true. But this is being framed in a lot of different ways. The first way that it's being framed is a big rally, a big protest against communism. They're fighting the goddamn commies. Yeah! Spank the tank, damn it! Well, kind of. Some of the protesters are criticizing communism, but it seems that the overall majority of these protests are around economic crisis that have been hit hard by U.S. sanctions and more recently COVID. Now, you might not know this, but Cuba, the way that their economy stays afloat, essentially, is through tourism. They get a lot of tourism that fuels the economy. It goes without being said that COVID obviously played a role in cutting back people taking a nice vacay over to Cuba. Cubans have been angered by the collapse of the economy, food and medicine shortages, price hikes, and the government's handling of the pandemic. So they're screaming down with the dictatorship. A lot of this is not necessarily intrinsic with communism, or more specifically, socialism. Now, some could argue that I'm a socialist because I want stronger social safety nets, but most of us are familiar with the fact that there are different levels of both communism and socialism. We hear a lot of people talk about market socialism now, which is a hell of a lot different than a communist dictatorship. Obviously, there are some differences there. So this isn't really impugning all of communism. These issues aren't really intrinsic to communism even. This is much more of a protest against issues in Cuba that have arisen due to the pandemic. So that's the first way that this is being framed, especially by people on the right, that, oh, it's an anti-communist thing. Yeah, stick it to the commies. But it's not just being framed kind of crazily and unrealistically by people on the right. It's also being framed really weirdly by some people on the left. Now, granted, there have been a lot of people in the breadtube side of things that have condemned this kind of shit, so I'm not saying everyone on the left is saying this, just like I'm not saying everyone on the right is saying this either, but there are a couple people that were making some really weird claims. Specifically, we have Bad Bunny, which I have a screenshot here. She did a stream on Cuba yesterday, and the title was, "So the CIA is astroturfing in Cuba again." Basically blaming the CIA for the protests. it wasn't just Bad Bunny that said this. It was also our buddy, Mike from PA. Searching Cuba results in Twitter recommending that you follow the CIA. Nothing suspicious going on here. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that a ton of people are saying bullshit like this, so the algorithm just pairs the CIA with when you search Cuba. No, certainly the CIA is trying to co-opt the Twitter searches. Ooh, spooky. So why is Mike from PA alluding to this like bizarre conspiracism? Why is Bad Bunny making claims that the CIA is doing this in Cuba? Well, it's because the US does have a pretty long history of fucking with Cuba. The Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961 was a failed... Fuck you, history.com. Get out of here. The Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961 was a failed attack launched by the CIA during the Kennedy administration to push Cuban leader Fidel Castro from power. So it is true that the US has on multiple different occasions tried to fuck with Cuba. The first being here, the Bay of Pigs, trying to push out the communist leader. Now, the goal here, the way that they were planning on doing this was by first taking out their airplanes so they would have no line of escape, I guess, and then they were having small militias that were going to rise up and start fighting. However, this became a massive, massive disaster. The first part of the plan was to destroy Castro's tiny air force, making it impossible for his military to resist the invaders. On April 15th, a group of Cuban exiles took off. So they were in planes painted to look like stolen Cuban planes, and they conducted a strike against Cuban airfields. However, it turned out that Castro and his advisors knew about the raid and had moved the planes already. So that was the first issue, but it was too late because on April 17th, the Cuban Exiles Brigade began its invasion at an isolated spot, and hundreds were killed and over 1,000 people were taken prisoner. This was a massive fail. But this is an important detail here because the way that the U.S. went about doing this was almost by using war tactics, right? Trying to take out the airfields, trying to rise up these militia groups. The U.S. fucked around with Cuba in more subtle ways also. On two different occasions. First, from 2009 to 2011 or 2012, the U.S. created an app where people who participated with that app were unaware that the U.S. was involved in this. And this app was basically to provide access to Cuban people, to Cubans? Cuban people? Yeah, to Cubans, and provide them access to the internet. So another issue in Cuba is that internet is heavily restricted and regulated by the government. It really is very authoritarian over there, okay? Now, of course, once this was exposed, I believe it was AP News exposed this in 2014. The company that was heading up that app was not the CIA, but they said we wanted to help provide internet access and, to these people that were suppressed from internet access. We wanted to give them access to messaging apps so that they could talk to people, talk to their families. But the app had a different intention, which was to amass subscribers by posting content that was like, hey, sports, hey, here's some weather updates. And then once they amassed subscribers, they were going to start introducing propaganda to try and spur militia groups, or what they were calling at the time, smart mobs. This happened from 2009 to 2011, and then the grant expired, so it shut down in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. It was something along that timeline. And then there was a second attempt at an app very similar that only amassed like 12,000 users compared to the first one that had over 40,000. The second one was shut down in 2018. So make no mistake, the US has fucked with Cuba in the past. Yes, 100%. It is very shitty. It is very scummy. Say about it what you will. What gets crazy, though, is to claim that these current protests are caused by the CIA. What that is delegitimizing the very valid reason that these people have for protesting their government. And what we're seeing here from Bad Bunny, from Mike from PA, are these LARPing lefty dipshits that because Cuba is communism, they don't want to criticize it. Oh, you can't criticize anything. It's a communist country. If there's a protest against any country that's communism, well, it must just be the CIA. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist boomer, though, I promise. It's so fucking stupid to me. There are multiple ways you could look at this also. The first being, how has America historically tried to fuck with Cuba? It was by trying to spur on militia groups, taking out their airfields, and then indoctrinating people via propaganda, all with pro-America, pro-democracy, anti-communism shit. Okay? Their goal with Cuba was always to take out communism. But what we're seeing here is not really a massive protest against communism. There are some that are complaining about communism, but these issues, like we already said, are not really intrinsic to communism. And these protests don't seem to be heavily anti-communism. I could be wrong, chat, correct me. I'm open to the willingness that I could be wrong there. But there are just different ways that these protests have unfolded as opposed to what we've seen in the past when America is trying to do these covert operations. So yeah, I think that there's a difference between speculation and making a claim, okay? But when you make a claim based on speculation, like Bad Bunny titling her shit, "The CIA is messing with Cuba," then it becomes a conspiracy theorist. Let me rephrase that. Then it becomes a conspiracy theory. Because you are now making claims based on no evidence. We have no evidence that the CIA is behind this. In fact, we have more evidence kind of to the contrary. So honestly, shame on these dumb fuck LARPers who can sit on their Twitch streams all day and never have to face the hardships of anything in life, to try and delegitimize protesters who it sounds like have very valid reasons for protesting their government when they can be thrown in prison for so much as protesting, when their own president has authorized protesters to be fired upon. Shame on you for trying to delegitimize that because you're too much of a fucking LARPer that you don't want to criticize precious communism. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on Cuba. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Cuba should legalize weed. You know what? That would fix everything, wouldn't it? All right, well, we have a few more donations here. Patrick Starr, thanks for the $2. SpongeBob is in Smash Bros. Woo, baby. That's sweet, dude. It's Mike, thanks for the $10. Sir, please. Kali Wally, thank you for the $2. Message retracted. Uh-oh. Bash the Fash, Spank the Tank, thank you for the $10. The CIA wants to know what a TIFF is. Nice. Ariel Ferdinands, thank you for the $2. Opinion on Romelu Benencourt, and I don't even know. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the donation, though. Oh, God. this guy again. We gotta get to PragerU, and I gotta talk to Vadim. Sorry, I'm just talking to Vadim. Alright. Hey, buddy. Gen Z Patriot. Listen, dude. You there?
I'm here, I think.
Yeah, I can hear you. So, look, you're only 16. We already talked. You need to get some rest,
Oh,
okay?
I actually want to debate you on something though.
Can I ask what it is?
Yeah. Why porn should be illegal?
I don't have enough interest in that subject to even get into a debate, my friend. I'm sorry.
What's your position on it?
I mean, I think that porn is generally unhealthy, but I don't know if I'd say it should be illegal. This is why I don't really want to think. I haven't thought this one through enough to debate it. Also, I saw the nice little compilation the nice little video you made on me. Someone posted it in my Discord. Yeah, that was pretty cute.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you seen Gomez's videos? They're a little bit better.
No, I haven't seen his videos yet, but I'm not gonna waste my time with that cock. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right, man. Well, you keep having fun talking shit in my chat.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
See ya. Okay. Well, that was a short combo. Okay. We're gonna get to PragerU now. Oh God. So PragerPoo is back. Once again, PragerU has gone mask off, kind of. Like, they just keep on doing these self-owns on Twitter. I don't understand it. This being their latest, young people are enamored with anti-racist rhetoric because they think they are fighting racist systems in America. The truth is they are fighting America itself and the very values the country was founded on. So my first question, why the fuck does PragerU hate America so much? I'm sorry, I think there are racist systems in America, but I don't think by attacking that, we're attacking America itself. I believe that there's a lot of good in America also. This is a strange tweet. Now, maybe they worded it poorly, or maybe they just have an intern that's like a lefty, and they're just trolling the fuck out of PragerU at this point. Like, could that be the case? How do you tweet something like this? They just lack so much self-awareness at this point. Are they admitting that America is founded on racism? Or are they saying that people who think they're fighting racism are actually fighting American values? But wouldn't that mean that American values were racist? It hurts. My brain is in pain. My skull is suffering. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because PragerU has kind of had these moments before. We all remember the, what was it? The statue of Lee. How can I suddenly... Can you move to show the full tweet? Yeah. There you go. Young people are enamored with anti-racist rhetoric because they think they are fighting racist systems in America. The truth is they are fighting America itself and the very values the country was founded on. You remember the other PragerU video that we went over where they tried to say that Robert E. Lee was good actually because he stopped a slave rebellion and his dad lived by George Washington or something? Well, recently, this came to my attention. Not sure when this video came out. It might be old. I don't know. Well, there's no date, so I don't care. Delivered to us by everyone's favorite, Will Witt, or as I like to call him, Will Dimwit. But then again, you can't really blame this kid. I almost feel bad for him, like he is literally paid by PragerU, by oil billionaires, to be stupid. It sucks. But let's hear Will Witt debunk the fact that some of the founding fathers were racist. I'm not hearing anything. Oh. Now, okay, sorry.
Thomas Jefferson had a black woman who he impregnated, freed him, taught him how to read and write, went against the crown to do so. Benjamin Franklin started...
Stop. Okay. So this is only a 53-second video. Okay, so we're going to be pausing it pretty, often. All right, because we're going to go through all of these claims. Because what he does is essentially a Gish Gallop, where he just spews out a bunch of claims, some half-truths, some just wrong, and then some generally correct, and then mushes them all together to try to make a more compelling argument. But he does it very quickly. I really fucking need a haircut. So, let's start it over, okay?
Thomas Jefferson had a black woman who he impregnated, freed him, taught him how to read and write, went against the crown to do so.
Okay, so Thomas Jefferson had a black woman who he impregnated. Very odd. First of all, I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean you're not racist, okay? Second of all, Thomas Jefferson did not have sex with her consensually. He raped her. You remember the power dynamics with her being literally enslaved? We now also have conclusive DNA evidence that Thomas Jefferson was the father of, I believe, the 6 children of that woman. So he impregnated a black woman? No, he raped his slave, Will. There's a little bit of a slight little difference there. I'm pretty sure the power dynamic there doesn't make this consensual sex. So, I looked this up because I had to fact check everything these dipshits say. Thomas Jefferson spent years raping his slave, Sally Hemings. So, DNA evidence has proved that Jefferson and Hemings had 6 children together while Jefferson kept Hemings enslaved. And Jefferson also enslaved their children, freeing them one by one as they came of age. So notice how Will Witt frames it here, which is, he impregnated her, he freed the slave. No, he enslaved her children and kept her enslaved and didn't free them until they were of age. Till they were like 18 years old. So they lived their entire childhood in slavery. So not only was the power dynamic fucked up with him being a slave master and her being the slave, but also Jefferson was in his 40s when this girl was a teenager. So that's another fucked up power dynamic. Hemings was a child and Jefferson literally owned her. She was not in any position to give or withhold consent. What Jefferson did to Hemings was rape. So, great framing, William Dimwit. He impregnated her, dude. He taught him how to read and write, dude. He impregnated a black woman, dude. How can he be racist? Because he raped his slave. That's why. Second of all, when he brings up the going to school thing, Thomas Jefferson's, solution or attempt there, if I'm not mistaken, was to separate the children from their parents send them off to a school, and then when they were done being educated, put them in a, like, colony, like a black-only ethno-state almost. So yeah, the hoops that these people will jump through to defend America. He raped his slave? Well, he couldn't be racist. He had sex with a black woman. Nice one.
One of the first anti-slavery to win against the crown to do so. Benjamin Franklin starting one of the first anti-slavery societies in America. John Adams.
So see how he does this? He mixes a true statement in with a false statement, right? So the half-truth, or the just at this point blatant falsehood, was the Thomas Jefferson claim, but the claim about Benjamin Franklin is true. Yes, Benjamin Franklin did try to start a society to not only no longer have black people enslaved, but also integrate black people into society. That's true. But when you mesh your true claims with false claims, it's kind of more or less a gish gallop. It's very dishonest of you, Will.
Slavery societies in America. John Adams being against slavery. George Washington.
John Adams being against slavery. Oh, I really wish that people would simply do a little bit of research. Again, like I said, Will Witt is paid to believe this stuff, so can't really do much about it, right? Let's see. Adams, despite being opposed to slavery, did not support abolitionism except if it was done in a gradual way with much caution and circumspection. Adams dismisses radical abolitionist measures as producing greater violations of justice and humanity than the continuance of the practice of slavery itself. Adams also wrongly asserts that the practice of slavery is fast diminishing. Rather than declining, slavery was growing in America. So, no, wrong. He was like the ultimate virtue signaler, basically. He was like, yeah, slavery, dude, it's really bad. Except he owned slaves his entire life and didn't want to get rid of slavery anytime soon, and also thought that getting rid of slavery would be a greater evil than continuing slavery. Why do these people lie? They just lie. Anyone that gets their news from PragerU or Will Dimwit over here is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Adams being against slavery. George Washington talking about how there is no one who wants to abolish slavery more than him. And in the
That's great. George Washington was another one who didn't even free his slaves until he died. It was in his will that they would be free. Unless that was John Adams. It was either him or George Washington. Second of all, I can point you here to the Encyclopedia of Virginia, which goes over George Washington and slavery. And you can read all about the various ways that George Washington not only abused and mistreated his slaves repeatedly, he commanded others to do the same. We have it in writing of him writing to people saying that you need to beat the slaves. Some slaves would be beaten so hard that they would be, like, incapacitated. Washington instructed one overseer, "Be constantly with your people when there. There is no other sure way of getting work well done and quietly by Negroes. For when an overlooker's back is turned, the most of them will slight their work or be idle together." He approved harsh punishment, even for the seemingly trivial offense of being impertinent. So basically we had these virtue signaling. They were virtue signaling when they're talking about opposing slavery. They say, no one wants to get rid of slavery more than I do, so Will Witt and his horde of dipshits can get up there and be like, yeah, you show them. But he can talk the talk. But when it came to walking the walk, he owned slaves his entire life and instructed other people to mistreat slaves the same way that he did also. Finally, it's a really low bar to be setting to say that they're not racist because they were against slavery.
founding documents in the Declaration of Independence where you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the first draft, that said life, liberty, and property. But Thomas Jefferson and the other founding fathers changed it to pursuit of happiness because they knew that people would think, oh, that means that slaves being property, they are endowed on me by God. But they changed it to pursuit of happiness so that property was not in there, so that that couldn't be an inalienable.
Now, he's saying this as if it's a matter of fact. It's my understanding that this is one assumption as to why he may have done that. But second of all, that is more or less a true statement. It does seem to be generally understood that that was why he did it. But again, when you mix falsehoods in with true things, you're making your argument weaker.
Right that you have as an American to own property, to own a slave. It is not the racist country that you think it is. Don't let the left try and misinform you and say that it was founded on racism.
Don't let the left misinform you. While pretty much this entire fucking video was misinforming us. Okay. Okay, William Dimwit. Okay, buddy. God. I will never understand how people take PragerU seriously. So yeah, I'm looking over this this article here where it goes into... Let's see. Jefferson opposed slavery in principle. He saw no obvious way to end it. Oh, this may have been something different. Yeah, like that's a good thing. It's great that he changed it so that slave owners wouldn't feel empowered or something. That's wonderful. But like, it's a little diminished when it's like, okay, he didn't want that to happen, but he was also raping his slaves and opposed like really getting rid of slavery anytime soon. But okay, that's great. Yeah, don't let the left misinform you guys. Don't let the left do it. The left is telling lies coming from the guy who lied about like 80%. 80% of the things Will Dimwit just spewed was incorrect, and that was only done in like 50 seconds. This is almost like an impressive amount of lying done in such a short amount of time. So great job, Will Dimwit. Great job, buddy. You say being against slavery does not prove you are not racist, yet you use slavery as proof of racism. Yes, because opposing slave or being in favor of enslaving people because you believe that they are inferior based on their race is racist. But I'm saying it's a low bar to set to say they're not racist because they just didn't like slavery. There's a lot more to racism than just slavery. There was well, I guess we couldn't say the Jim Crow argument there because Jim Crow wasn't in place yet. But I'm not trying to have it both ways at all. It's just that you can still be racist and also be like, yeah, I don't think we need to enslave people, but I still think that they're lazy or that slavery is going to be, or that getting rid of slavery would be a greater evil to society than opposing slavery, but than the continuance of slavery. But, you know, you guys are so stupid. I never thought I would see such sheep in my life. Okay, Gen Z Patriot, please, buddy. You're only 16. It is definitely past your bedtime at this point. Get the fuck out of here, okay? All right. We're going to talk to Creationist Cat here. Guys, now is the time. If you want to donate to the stream, if you want to help support the channel, put something into the super chat. And if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, then you can also send something to my PayPal, because that right there is how you can chip in for my next gram of marijuana. That's right, my dudes. I just got a $5 donation. Thanks for the help this year. I enjoy your debates. Hope your views go up and I don't annoy in YouTube chat. Kieran Hewitt, thank you so much for the support. You have just chipped in to my next gram of weed. Thank you. Wow, we just got another donation, a $20 donation. Holy shit, from Melissa McDonald. Thank you so much. Contribution to the weed fund because you're going to need it after that conversation. Shout out to Melissa McDonald, based donor over here. Thank you. And yeah, that's true. I really sincerely am. So yeah. Oh God. Thank you very much for that donation. Really means a lot.
Hello.
Hello, Vadim. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Are you hearing me all right?
Yeah, you sound nice and loud and clear. Very crisp, my
Oh,
friend.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on.
Sure. Yeah, you're
Um,
kind of the we're going to wrap up the stream on this conversation. And I'm going to take a nice bong hit. We're going to just relax. We're just going to have a little chat. I assume this isn't going to be hostile.
no, of course not. And yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I fully endorse you taking a big fat bong hit right now. So go for it. And folks, bankroll his next bong hit and bong
Actually,
hits
we
to
just
come.
got a very generous donation. We got a
Oh, you did?
I got a $20 PayPal donation for the weed fund because of that first conversation I had with that guy.
It's going to a good cause, folks.
Yes, it is. So
Weed
what's up,
for
man?
Hunter Avalon. So I heard that you were literally at a Turning Points USA event attacking transgender people while being alt-right. No, I'm kidding.
Oh boy, here we go again.
I'm sorry. Bad joke.
No, it's all right.
But I mean, sort of the reason why. I mean, I guess I'll start out by saying, I did watch that semi train wreck of a debate. I mean, a train wreck from his point of view. I thought you actually handled it about as well as can be expected.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you really landed a couple of really nice KOs there. Like, for instance, I usually am not like into people making and I don't think that this was like you meant this as a substantive argument, but I'm usually not like very receptive when people say like, oh, I get more views than you. But like when you said I deleted 12 million views, which I'm pretty sure is more views than you've gotten on your entire Twitch channel, that just like that was just very nicely done. Just a chef's kiss moment.
It's because
Good.
Mike from PA is so like. Honestly, I wish that I almost want to have another discussion with him because I would not let him pivot as much the second time. Like, I really wish that I didn't let him pivot as much as he did because I needed to hold his feet to the fire because he was just lying. Like, he was just blatantly lying to me.
Oh, absolutely. And then, I mean, with gosh, I'm gonna get on his hit list now. But yeah, with from what I gather of Mike from PA, because it's not like I've watched a shitload of his material, but from what I see when people like just blatantly refute what he has to say, he just pivots to the next thing, never acknowledges that there was anything wrong, and then he keeps going back to them. I mean, you you were like, hold on, I was never alt-right, like pretty much from the beginning.
Right, and I should have hammered
And
that harder though too because
yeah, it would have been good to do that at the beginning to hammer that hard. Yeah, go ahead though. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
no, please continue. That's all I was adding was that.
So yeah, I mean the reason why I bring it up is because I watched the stream as on its own, and lately I've been going for like a lot of late night walks, and I listen to, I don't know, streams as I'm walking on my phone and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I listened to both Bosch's and Dylan's take on it. I pretty much listened to it all the way through like 3 times.
Oh shit.
And which it didn't cease to be entertaining.
I
But
pity you very much.
yeah. But as I was listening to it, and this has kind of occurred to me somewhat, but it kind of occurred to me like even more like, gee, why hasn't this why haven't I given this as much thought as I am now? I think and I guess because I don't know, just I wouldn't expect you to be very up on like my whole history on YouTube and or whatnot. But even though that there are some like significant differences between kind of where you came from, where you ended up, yada yada yada, I think that we both kind of have some interesting similarities in our like in our stories. So I thought maybe I'd tell you a little bit about my experiences and we could compare notes. I just thought it might be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, sure. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let's go for it.
Sure. So that requires me to, both let you know, and I'll try and give you like a nutshell version. Might take a couple minutes to explain. Like I'm gonna try and give you like quick rundown. Feel free to ask questions. I mean, this isn't like a monologue here. But just so your viewers know, my name is Vadim. My channel's name is Hey It's Vadim. You can call me Vadim, or the unfortunate acronym of HIV. And which completely accidental. Realized that one a little too late, but I like the name Hey It's Vadim.
What happened to I think most people probably still know
Yes.
you as Creationist Cat.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. That I used to be Creationist Cat. Creationist Cat was originally an atheist channel, and I started kind of drifting away from atheist related topics for a couple reasons. One, because I felt like I had kind of said what I wanted to in those regards, but then also big reason is because both the atheist and especially I have to, people can't see me, I'm doing air quotes here, skeptic community just continually got more and more cringe, went further and further to the right. And I always had pretty left-wing politics. And so, this is kind of explaining my whole story. So the channel originally, for those of you who don't know Creationist Cat, I mean, right, I'll just like, I guess, shameless plug. Again, the name of the channel now is Hey It's Vadim. If you guys are curious, I do pretty much comedic video essays that from a left-wing lens, usually with at least a bit of politics involved and sometimes pop culture. Good video to check out if you're curious is recently I posted a video called Elon and SNL debunking the Muskaganda, which uses SNL as sort of like a springboard to talk about a lot of things that make, in my opinion, Elon Musk kind of a toilet human being. But anyhow, back to like my actual story here, and then we can kind of like talk about it and whatnot. So basically, I started out in the atheist community somewhat early on in it as a thing on YouTube. And even though by, say, like BreadTube standards, it wasn't super left wing, it was, at the time still generally progressive, generally, around the time that Obama was in was president, at least towards the beginning of his presidency, people were generally supportive of him, and like, I'm not trying to say that like Obama was like some super progressive or something, but I'm just trying to make the point that it definitely, through a number of means, and this as well as I do, not just the atheist sphere, but the skeptic sphere, or just political YouTube, the whole thing grew, and it just got more and more right wing as things went on. And
Was it with like the anti-SJW wave? Because I remember,
yes,
because that's how I found out about Amazing Atheist, was through his like anti-SJW content.
exactly. And I mean, when things first started, I would say that people were generally like positive about feminism, But I don't know. I mean, I could talk about like a lot of the like. I won't go into them because it's just a whole
I
can
remember
of worms.
hating the
Like
one,
the
the one progressive guy. Steve Shives was his name.
Yeah, Steve Shives. I mean, we don't have to get way into it. He's one of
Was he
the most.
insufferable, or was that just my anti-SJW phase?
I think that honestly, like if you go back and you look at most of the things he was saying, he was correct about just about everything. He didn't always, I would say, maybe voice his opinions in what would be a productive way. But then again, the people who hated him were 20 times more toxic than he ever was. So he had no real obligation, in my opinion, to be a nice guy. Like I don't know. That's a
I
whole
remember there being something with his
com.
wife. With
Well,
he was like,
yes,
people were like, "Lol, look how his wife like pushed him around." Or I'm just saying this out of how I remember it with my
yeah,
anti-SJW
that,
shit.
yeah, that was a big thing. I mean, like basically, he, if you want to go down that path, he did this video with his wife where his wife. I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal, but she disagreed with him on some topics, and basically, people were like, "Lol, he's such a pussy." And then what they started doing was they started, she's just was just someone at the time who would appear in his videos once in a blue moon, and people started like on Twitter, like basically she had to private her Twitter, and she got all these like hideous messages, and then when she blocked those people or made her account private, he started getting that, and he was like, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to subject myself to all this ugliness. I don't give a fuck about what these people have to say. So he basically like mass blocked people, and all
I
these people
remember
had,
that.
yeah, and all these people had a problem with that, although
I remember
so
people were
many.
like, "I don't even know who this guy is," and he blocked me.
Yeah, because what he did is that he used like block, like I don't know what you call them, like block bots or just like lists or something.
I got you.
And again, like the funny thing is that 95% of those people, like your Sargons, Shoe on Head, and who like has,
What do you think of Shoe on Head?
oh, we could talk about that later. I think it actually dovetails into some of the things that we're talking about, because I would answer that, but I just like I want to get just so I can
I got
give
you.
you my history. I'm just going to finish up the Steve Shives thing and then just tell you kind of what happened to me.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
with Steve, basically, just to wrap that up, there were tons of people who criticized him for blocking, and then later went on to block quite regularly, which is fine. Like I think if you like you only have so much time in the day, and if people just look unproductive and annoying, fucking block them. I don't
I
care.
actually agree with that. I think that
Yeah.
the whole like obsession with like people getting blocked is like, who gives a fuck? I mean, I'll still make fun of someone if they block me, I guess. It depends on why. But
Yeah, it's the circumstances, really.
but
But
I read
yeah,
this meme that really well described it. It was like, LOL, he blocked me. And they're like, yeah, I clicked 3 buttons to block this creepy guy, and I'll do it again. Like, it's such an insignificant thing that doesn't really matter.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And people, I mean, the last thing I'll say about it is that people were like, "Oh, my, you're taking away my free speech," when I mean, just these things are so that they're not the same thing. Like, it's like kind of your own little personal space on the internet, and you're allowed to do with it what you will within reason. Certainly, blocking is fine. But so anyway, my whole thing was this: that I had always been, you know, pretty left wing. Most like I grew up in New York City and spent a lot of time in LA. Most of my politics were somewhat left wing, or pretty left wing, at least at the time, and also very like progressive when it comes to social issues from a young age. Basically, like once I really kind of started understanding what politics were about. And then also, like, the majority of my friends that I went to college with and that I worked with over the course of my life considered themselves feminists and whatnot. But early in the I mean, I just kind of say this just in the spirit of honesty. There was a very brief period where and I would say really just a few months, where the whole anti-SJW thing was starting to catch on. This is probably around 2014 or so. Maybe I may be off about the actual date, but
That's
somewhere
fine.
around
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I had actually been living, it had been a few years since I was in New York City. I was living in a small town, and I started thinking to myself, you know, I like, on one hand, I don't generally like seeing feminism shit on to this extent, but I'm seeing all all this footage of people, you know, I think in a lot of these cases, even though I may not like the way that people are framing these arguments, these people do look like, you know, they're kind of shooting their belief, or their, not their belief system, but just their cause in the foot. So there was this brief time where I engaged, like, I made like a couple of, and when I say that I made like anti-SJW videos, I think I'm being really like kind of fair here, because the thing is that, like, I never made videos that, one, had any false information in them. I never made hateful videos. I never made videos that had any sort of either you know, like, vaguely racist, vaguely anti-BLM, vaguely transphobic, or you know,
So your stuff was always a
anti-LGBT
lot
stuff.
more like progressive from the start.
Yeah, but I mean, I did do like for instance, maybe like I made like a couple of videos where I was making fun of cringy feminist slam poetry and stuff like that, you know?
Okay,
And
yeah.
there
So
were,
I would still say you can make fun. Like that's
yeah,
fucking. That's like pop feminism shit.
yeah, oh, I agree with that, but this is the thing. It's sort of like, at the time, there is, because this is what I realized. I First of all, I thought that the anti-SJW thing and the anti-feminism thing was going to be like a passing phase. And then I realized two things. One was that no, this this is never going to end. And two, I realized that it was being used to sort of weaponize. It was being used deliberately by the right in order to get recruiting people, you know, and they were framing like feminism as all of that. It was like all just this one thing. And yes, I agree. You know, even at the time, there were people like Kat Black who
I remember hating her at the time too. Just like, not even really knowing why. Actually, that's not true. I remember I saw one video of hers that I didn't like. Or at least I thought I didn't like it because it was Blair White did something on them at the time.
Well, you know, they are constantly like, especially at the time, people would really straw man her arguments. I always thought, like, I didn't watch her as much as I do now, but I always thought that she was super cool. And my whole point is that Kat Black from the beginning was doing videos where she was like, yeah, pop feminism is bullshit. So it's like, even though that maybe like, because I wasn't that tuned into maybe other creators who were doing the same thing, I'm just saying that there were feminists who were doing these things, you know, who were
But
kind of talking.
you usually just didn't hear about them. From
Yeah,
my side of things, anyway.
or they once again, they'd just be kind of straw manned and be, you know, just everything was kind of portrayed as the whole. So basically, I realized at a certain point, oh shit, you know, we're at this weird point. Things are getting more and more right wing. I personally do not even want a little bit, because I started noticing people that comments that I did not like in my videos, people that seemed like a little sus. And I basically I eventually, like about a year or two later, I unlisted those videos, and I stopped making material like that because I thought, like, I just do not want to add to this fire that's going on. So then we'll jump like a few years later. Now I guess I should also say I was like a part of like a few controversies. There was this insufferable shithead who maybe you've heard of named Atheism is Unstoppable.
Oh, I hate that guy. He hates on me all the time on Twitter still too. It's very
he's disgusting, and
isn't he actually a neo-Nazi or something like that?
He's not a yes and no. I mean, he actually stands for Israel in like, you know, like a really like, I mean, I'm not saying that the Israel Palestine thing is like, you know, like it's a complex topic, but he just is super pro-Israel.
People
and
in the chat are asking you to just speed it up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. So my point is that I had gotten into like I won't talk about him. So sorry if I'm boring you guys. This is where it gets interesting. Okay. So basically, there was a video by Sean. You know who Sean is, right?
Yeah.
Talking about a YouTuber, and I'm not going to name them because I'm actually on good terms with them now. They actually kind of had the same thing happen to them that happened to me. But he used to have a video that was about a particular YouTuber, and you probably know who it is, but I'm not going to, again.
That's fine. That's fine.
Not gonna, yeah. And this person made a video that was rather ridiculous, which was about an hour long, and it was about like the scourge of the anti-SJWs and how they were horrible. And Sean made a video which is no longer up because this gentleman is kind of changed quite a bit, and I believe he behind the scenes like apologized to him and realized that the video was just bad. But what a lot of people don't realize is that this video, they don't realize it because, you know, Sean didn't talk about me because I did a separate response and he knew I was doing that. The video revolved around me. It was kind of like saying like, and creationist cat, Vadim Newquist is a secret SJW. And I was sort of like the pivot point for all these stories that he told about SJWs.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And the thing is that I had been for a little while, I was kind of reluctant to speak up on all of like the shit that I was seeing around me in terms of like just how, you know, right wing stuff was. But then it got to a point where it's like, oh my God, we have literal Nazis like just breaking bread with other YouTubers. And so I started making more and more content where I was attacking people like Sargon of Akkad, Steven Crowder, other people who started getting more and more sway within the community. And when this video was published about me, I immediately lost about 10. I mean, and this might not sound like a lot, but you know, you were in the hundreds of thousands, whereas like I was around 64,000 subs at this point. I lost 10,000 subs within like 2 weeks. And then within like a week or two, both Sargon and what's his name, Bering, made videos about me. And after about a month and a half, I lost altogether, like I was just under 50,000 subs. So I lost like 15,000 subs. And for years, my channel just had very slow growth. And then on top of that, you know, I think there's some similarity between you and I because, like, you know, I lost a good like I still
help me,
don't
please.
quite make as much as I was.
How do I do this?
I was my channel was at that moment that I lost all those subs and things ground to a halt.
How do I make steps?
I was averaging somewhere between
stairs,
3
guys? Help me,
to
someone,
4 to sometimes 5,000 subs a month. And you know, and then just shit grinded to a halt. So I could add more, but maybe like I'll just kind of throw those things in as we talk. I guess that's sort of my story. Things have gotten better, but you know, the last thing I'll say is this: is that there were a lot of people in the left wing community who just, by virtue of the fact that I was within this sphere that I did not really want to be in. Like, I can't tell you how often, don't get them as much these days, but I would get comments that would say things like, "Hey, I haven't checked on this channel in years, and I just assumed that you were a huge asshole because everyone else in your community are huge assholes. Thanks for not being an asshole." And it's either that or I've never checked out your channel because I always just assumed you were an asshole because I knew you were a part of such and such crowd. And hey, thanks for not being an asshole. I'm subbing. So, it's taken a little while to kind of, even though that I never agreed with these people, to kind of wash that view of me within the community.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So that being said, I'm sorry if I monologued for a while. I'm sorry if I bored your audience. I just felt like I needed to be thorough about it. But so you could see kind of like how I look at your story, which, there's some significant differences, but there's also some major similarities. I want to say real quick that like Mike was giving you a hard time, but I honestly, from my point of view, and I've been critical of some people who have made changes
I
from
think I
a
know
few years
where
ago.
this is gonna go.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to name anyone specifically, and don't get me wrong, every single one of these people, I think that they're better, and I prefer the 2021 version of them to like the shitlord version. But I honestly think that from my point of view, your kind of the way that you've gone about your kind of changes and whatnot is both what I would call authentic. It's kind of like I
That's why it's
feel
so funny
like
when people try to say I'm a grifter.
I know, because like dude, man, like you must have been making way more money than I was, and there's a lot of things about your situation that honestly, like, I find really intriguing, because the thing is that like you were young, and it's so easy for people to find themselves in these bubbles when they create personas online.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's very hard to pierce those bubbles. And a lot of people, I think, aren't allowed to grow the way that they would naturally if they weren't kind of in a situation where they were kind of growing up online or changing and so I give you a lot of credit, honestly, for how the ways in which you change. I mean, we can talk more about that. And then also it's like when you were talking with Mike, like I little things like it's like like some people, even though that, again, I like them more than I did before, every now and then I get the feeling that some of the things they do are performative. But like when you were like saying to Mike, like, "Hey, I'm not asking for credit here," that just all felt very honest to me, and I've never felt like you have been like, "Hey, look at me, I don't feel like you've ever virtue signaled about your change, even though that I don't like that term. So
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it
yeah,
for sure, but it's
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's why it was funny that he was like, "You want credit for that?" And I was like, "No." Like it just kind of shows where his mind's at almost. Like he thinks everything's just done for credit when it's just like it's not like that.
I don't even know, because I mean, I could speculate. I don't watch enough of his material to kind of like do too much of a armchair psychoanalysis, but you were definitely right that the guy just, I mean, it was kind of embarrassing how little homework. I mean, right off the bat, not just calling you alt-right, but it's like what the fuck, like claiming that you were being transphobic at that Turning Points USA event where you were, I mean, what you did was great. It takes balls to go to an event like that and completely
It was so much
just
fun.
yeah. Tell me, what was that like? Like, I want to know. This is what I want to know. I want to know, how were you treated after all of that? By
Honestly, really well. People were
Yeah?
still, yeah, people were still pretty cool. It was I had a much bigger fallout with the online, right later on. So like, it was kind of funny though, because Sargon was there, and then like after I did my speech, he came out and was like, "I don't even want to do my speech. We just got to get to the Q&A," because he like couldn't believe what I had said. It was pretty funny. So, yeah.
What does this mean? I'm not. We don't have to analyze it too much. But somebody, Lord Pinch said, "Vadim Blad Idi Rush B." Bro, I don't get what you're saying.
Are you live on your end?
I'm. What do you mean? Am I live on my end?
Like, are you streaming on your end?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm
Okay,
not.
gotcha.
I'm looking at your YouTube chat when I say that.
I gotcha.
And looks like you just got a $200 donation, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I don't. I think it was. I think in currency, it's to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 20.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still.
But still, I'm not diminishing it at all. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, shout out to. I'm gonna do donations right afterwards. But yeah.
But yeah, man. So they were pretty cool. I mean, how was Sargon like any different than he was before with you, or was it all chill?
I mean, we were arguing for sure. But yeah, I mean, overall, people were still pretty nice, surprisingly or not enough. I think people enjoyed hearing a different perspective. It's also different when you're at like, it was like a small TPUSA chapter in like a college, right? So like there's probably like 70 or 80 people there. So it wasn't like that big of an event. Whereas, like I said, it was the online right that really flipped out. Hey, do you play any Minecraft?
I actually have amazingly have never played Minecraft once in my life, and I
need to know how to make glass.
I am not the man to ask for that. I'm just not.
I haven't. I used to play it so much when I was little, but I haven't played it in so long, and I don't know how to do it. Wait, I need stone. All right, sorry. Go ahead, please continue.
I have some questions for you, and we can talk about like other things you asked, like what do I think of Shoe on Head and stuff like that if you want. But I was just curious, like, because from what I would think, I kind of think that you know, I think you kind of serve an important, like I wish there were a few more streamers that maybe like kind of had your unique either experience or kind of because I would think
probably will in a matter of time. Like a lot of the times what happens with these things and is that I am the one that takes like a lot of like backlash for something, and then in a matter of time people are going to come around and realize that I was right. So like for example, back in like 2019 and shit, I was like getting kind of attacked a lot for changing my opinion on gender and everything, and also for like I was talking about like cancel culture on the right as well. And you know, I was largely made fun of. I was called like a libcock soy boy, all this shit. But then like now you look at these like dumb talking heads like Tommy Lauren or Zuby, and they're now saying the same shit about like cancel culture on the right. And I'm like, well, I said that way back when no one wanted to listen to me, but okay, that's how it is going to be, you know? It's like it's only a matter of time until people are going to kind of realize that I was right about some of this shit.
I did notice those tweets. I have a hard time kind of wondering if it's sort of like, you know, really at their heart kind of what they think, because Tommy has a long line of saying some pretty transphobic stuff.
Exactly.
You know, and as does Zuby. Zuby's incredibly transphobic.
Yeah, he did that whole thing where he was like where he like beat the record by identifying as a woman, lol, or like so stupid.
Yeah, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I think he's the one who like made pronouns in bio kind of an annoying meme. But I want, yeah, I just to finish what I was saying about, your the space that you sort of occupy. I imagine that you have a lot. I mean, whereas you certainly have lost subscribers, I imagine that there's a large handful of subscribers who maybe went on the journey that you did along with you. And I'm just wondering, like, how often do you hear from fans that kind of fit into that, that description?
Yeah, I've definitely talked with some fans that have stuck around and still like really like my shit. So it's cool talking to people like that for sure, because it's nice to know that not every conservative is the same exact like mad and unsubscribing kind of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah. Yeah, but it's a good experience, of course, to talk to those people. Now that I do Discord calls too, I have a lot of conversations with people, and I've had some people come on and tell me that they were conservative and that they've actually kind of shifted away from stuff along with me. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and I just, it basically, when it comes to changing people's minds and kind of just furthering the goals, the general broad goals of the left. I mean, I know that's a large blanket, but it takes all different types, and there's going to be people that I think that your particular politics and your point of view, like you're going to be able to reach certain people that maybe somebody like Vosh, who I like Vosh, not dissing him by saying this, but like I think that potentially there are certain people that you can reach that others who have more kind of like far lefty politics wouldn't. And that's as far as I'm concerned, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of I know when I was like kind of pondering all of this stuff, I had more kind of questions about your particular experience. I mean, I'm wondering, like, how gradual was it for you realize, like, for instance, like when you were at the whatchamacallit, the Turning
Turning
Point
point event.
USA thing. I mean, like was there, because I do not, there's some people who would possibly criticize you for this, but I kind of understand all of like the complex dynamics that go into making changes like this and whatnot. So what I'm asking is like, was there like an oh shit moment for you where you kind of like had like a big paradigm shift and you were kind of thinking like, okay, how am I going to make this transition? Was it more gradual than that?
Yeah,
Just
a lot of people ask me if it was like a really abrupt thing, but for the most part, no. It was really a gradual thing. There wasn't really a time that I remember where I had like that one snap moment where I was like, aha, this is where I'm exactly wrong. It was more of just, yeah, a gradual thing. And I mean, my opinions are still like changing and developing as I move along, but like that's everybody, you know? Um, but yeah, the opinions that I've kind of landed on now with as far as being a social democrat, I'm pretty confident in those positions. You saw the conversation I had with that one guy. Just it seems to be, I don't know, my positions hold up under scrutiny. So
I
yeah.
was not expecting, in the beginning of that convo, for some reason, I thought that he was like talking to you because he was a Mike from PA fan or something. So when he started getting gradually more like, throwing out like uh, uh moral degeneracy and just these sort of this dog whistles. I mean,
Yeah, more or
I
less.
I was just like, whoa, I didn't realize this is where this guy was coming from.
Yeah.
Um, but
Hey chat,
yeah,
where do I find Cole? Sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, I feel like I have questions to ask, but I also, I gave you like a lot of kind of information about myself and whatnot. And I'm just wondering if you like have any questions for me or any insights into what I said or any reactions.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like you went through a not like sounds like a similar enough process where you still were, in like I don't know. I just think that as a public figure, it seems like you have a good understanding more or less of how to deal with some of these conflicts. Like how long did you say you've been doing your YouTube?
I mean, I started the channel in like 2012. But I would say that I wasn't doing it regularly or semi-regularly until around 2015. That's when I start like until then I was just making every now and then I'd make like a bunch of videos and then I'd take several months off um and then I was like, oh, I can make money doing this. I didn't realize I could do that.
Right.
Um, you know, and that was around 2015. And then I 2016 was a decent year of growth for me. And then 2017, the beginning of it was fantastic. And then I had the rug pulled out from under me when,
You've
that
gotten that
stuff.
huge controversy.
Yeah, and it was sort of like, I mean, the funny thing is that this YouTuber who made the video was more or less correct. I mean, I think the term SJW is kind of ridiculous. It's usually meant as a pejorative,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact of the matter is that yes, I did have those politics, and even though that I was kind of speaking up about a lot of shit that I didn't like, I wasn't as upfront as I wanted to be with my politics because I knew what a right-wing space it was, and I didn't want to lose my livelihood.
Yeah,
So
put you in a tough spot.
yeah, but I think that I was getting so fed up with the way things were that I started kind of like on Twitter, like the video was just basically when it would talk about me, it would be like, look at this discussion between Vadim and Kevin Logan, or just pick the I don't know, SJW, the SJW person who was often attacked back in the day. And it's like I barely knew these people at that point, but I would kind of have just friendly exchanges with them.
Right.
And there was also a really ridiculous point where I just think this is a funny story, but where he accused me, and it really, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but, and again, this person, he and I would say that he's done a lot of positive growth. He's a good guy. I like we're actually friends now, and he's not like this anymore. He's kind of embarrassed by the video, but there's this point where he's talking about Sargon of Akkad, and he was like, because we used to have he and a couple of other friends, we used to have these talks on Skype, and he was like, and Vadim tried to stage a mutiny and have us all turn against Sargon of Akkad, who, by the way, he has no love for these days. But the funny thing is that like it was just crazy to me because like basically the extent of those conversations were just like me saying like, yeah, I think Sargon sucks. I think he's really a horrible influence on the internet. And that was about it. Like I was never like, we must crush Sargon of Akkad and overthrow him as the ruler or whatever the fuck he was saying.
Right.
So yeah. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know obviously, like you there are some people on the left who you talked about, like Mike from PA today. You mentioned Bad Bunny. There are some people who you'd say are bad faith. If I was going to name somebody like the number one, that drives me nuts is fucking Jimmy Dore. I think that
Yeah,
guy,
he's pretty insufferable.
he's cringe, and I also think he's like a political nihilist. Like there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's like no pathway to getting anything positive done with him. But I'm wondering from your point of view, because I don't know. I mean, I'm for those of you guys who are listening, it's not like I'm super lefty, like I'm breadtube friendly, but I would say that I fall into more or less where Bernie Sanders is on the political compass. Maybe like I'd be a little bit to the left of him on some things. My point is just how much do you think they're like in our lefty space? How much like, you know, you were accused of being a grifter, but how much actual like LARPing and grifting do you think is actually going on?
Probably a lot. I mean, I don't have an exact number, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool and hip right now to be like all for that communism shit, but like a
Mm.
lot of people don't even like have any idea what they're even talking about who are down with that. I'm not saying everyone who's in favor of communism is a LARPer. It's just a lot of people are, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you have kind of two camps with that. I think you have some people who possibly um, b- believe it, but don't quite have as much of a grasp of it as maybe they should.
Hmm.
And I guess I should say there's three. Then there are those who are informed and talk about it very well. People like Lance, Thought Slime, Bosch.
Vosh is
I
really
think,
good.
yeah, no, I mean, I think they all kind of really come from an informed point of view. Um, and then there are those who probably, you know, as a space gets larger and larger, you're going to have people who are doing it more for money and for clout and things like that. And you know, it's hard to really tell what people's
There's
overall.
also, it also depends. Like some people, it doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah.
if they're making good arguments and they're spreading a good cause, then like sometimes it doesn't matter. Like you have to think of it in the logistics sense too. But
Yeah, I agree.
I still
Go
think it's
on.
better to be sincere for sure.
Yeah, I think more often than not, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I think that if you are genuinely sincere, it's going to show, maybe not to everybody, but to your more discerning, like smarter consumers of YouTube stuff. Like they're going to kind of
They can catch on.
get, yeah, something will seem a little off if either you don't know what you're talking about a lot of the time, or if it's just kind of a dishonest thing. It's just it's a weird place to be in, because a few years ago the idea of left-wing grifting was ridiculous to me. Like that there just wasn't enough money being made by left tubers in order for that to be possible. But now it's, you know, it's a little different. Although the one thing that I will say is that that, you know, you don't have like billionaire frackers that are giving people money like they do to, say, PragerU and stuff
Right.
on the
Yeah,
left.
they get a lot of fucking money from oil billionaires. Hey, I just messaged you. I am gonna have to start wrapping up this convo pretty soon here. Just it's nothing personal at all. It's just I'm running low on time.
Sure, no problem. I'm glad we got to talk a little bit about it. You know, just want to say keep it up. I think you're doing a good job, and yeah, I just
Thanks, man.
firmly disagree with Mike's assessment of, you know, where you're coming from and everything, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll just say to your chat, thanks for having me. And yeah, and thanks for having me on and having a good chat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
For sure. It was a lot of fun. I really appreciate getting the chance to talk to you too.
yeah, likewise. Maybe we could do it again and get into some more stuff. I mean, I just kind of wanted to share my personal experience and say like, oh, I can see some
Some similarities.
similarities there, and I feel ya. I've gotten some of the same criticisms, and then also some of the same, like, I don't know. You had it on a larger scale though, but I'm gonna let you wrap it up. I'm not gonna
Thanks, man. Well,
suck
hey, I
your
really
ear off.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on here. It was a interesting conversation, and hopefully some of my listeners go over and sub to your channel too.
Yeah, if you guys wanna, but you can either look up Creationist Cat or Hey It's Vadim. Either one of those things will, and Vadim is spelled Vadim, not Vadeeem, which is how that's how Mr. T
Vadim.
that's how Mr. T spelled it when he gave me an autograph. But yeah, and you can also find me in the same name on Twitter. Hey, it's Vadim.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
Well, thanks for coming
cool.
on, Vadim. Have a good rest of your night,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah, you have a good one, and everybody else stay safe. Later.
See you. That was a nice convo. Hold on. Oh, you guys hear that? Shit. Dude, oh my god. Gen Z Patriot, buddy. I already told you it's past your bedtime.
Oh, are we on a call?
Yes, we're on a call. Why? Go get out of my Discord. Get out of my chat. You're 16.
No,
You need it. You should be
because
studying.
you
You have
said you're
homework.
apparently not educated enough on the topic.
Yeah.
Debate me. Well, how? You don't educate yourself enough to know this?
Wait. I haven't done extensive research on whether or not like porn should be made
then
illegal,
tomorrow.
my dude. I'm sorry
Okay.
that I don't have like all the yeah. Believe it or not, I know usually I do come off as like a god of facts, but I do have to sometimes
yeah,
research shit, you know? Sometimes that's how
All right, so like, I don't know, over the next month, like at least a month, would you research this and then we could debate about this?
maybe, buddy. Maybe if you study
Okay.
for your homework,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, it's summer, but yeah.
All right. That's you know what,
All
that's
right.
true. It is
How-
summer. That's right. I'm not
Have a
up to
good
date
night.
with my all right, yeah. Whatever, dude. All right, see you, bro.
All right, bye.
Go to bed, kid. All right. Ben Fields, thank you for the $5 donation for the grift. Hell yeah. Yeah, guys, we're going to be wrapping up the stream here soon. So if you still want to help support the channel and help get your message read, now's the time to do it, okay? I'm pretty sure we got another PayPal also. We did. From Jacob Spurna. Thank you for the $5 PayPal. I've got 5 on it. Stay golden, Hunter. Oh, hell yeah. You guys are the best, man. Thanks, guys. I love you all so much. Carissa Fulner, thank you for the $10 donation. Hey, Hunter, love the content. In the past, you made videos like trolling at Women's March. Do you think you'll ever do something like that, but trolling at conservative events? I'm just curious. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely, yes. I absolutely will. Lib Left World Federalist, thank you for the $20 donation. Thank you so much, dude. That is really, really helpful. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just saw 3 lies about gay people. Have you considered making content that could help give people arguments for progressive interpretations of Christianity, or going over other Bible verses that sound yikesy but aren't? Yeah, maybe. That's actually a great idea. Jeff McKinney, thanks for the $5. Throw sand into a furnace, it equals sand. Yeah, that's right. I needed coal. And then I found it. Holy shit, why are these people in my chat like yelling that they got banned or something? Hey Drex, what's up, buddy?
Wait, I'm on here?
Yes, you're on. Please don't curse or say the N-word. You can curse, it's fine. But don't say anything against TOS. What's up, man? Okay. Cool. Okay. I don't know why he said he wanted to come on and then just dip, but all right. Well, hey everybody. I appreciate everyone. Wait, is he back now? Okay, wait, he's back on now. Hey, buddy, did you not mean to sign off?
I didn't mean to sign off.
So what's up?
Wait, could you still hear me?
I can hear you right now, yes.
Okay. So I thought that I closed out because I thought that I would be able to talk to you while while watching the YouTube video, but I didn't realize that I needed to still be on Discord. So
I got you.
I watched the MRA versus Vosh debate, and there's a few things in it that I don't know, I wish I could ask Vosh about it. They brought up uh they brought up rape culture, and something that I've want to know is how do you how would the education system solve rape culture without alienating both men and women? Because like I because my college was obsessed about rape culture, and it alienated me because it made me look like a perpetrator. Even though that I didn't do anything wrong, women still feared me just because I was a guy. It also alienated the women because it made women feel afraid that they're just going to get attacked. So, do you know of any way of solving the issue without alienating people?
I mean, yeah, it kind of just depends on various different ways of how we socially condition both men and women, certain education, the way that the media sort of portrays this behavior. I mean, we saw a huge spike of quote unquote rape culture coming out of Hollywood over the course of the Me Too movement. I don't think it has to be alienating necessarily. I would like to have a longer conversation. Excuse me. I'd like to have a longer conversation with you about this. I'm probably going to be live again tomorrow because I got to wrap up my stream now. But if you want to come on tomorrow, maybe we can talk about that. Talk about this then.
Okay, so what time will